pushing too hard, I think. Keep getting lap time invalids.
Coda.
Yeah. I can tell me about it last night. Trying to hold it in. Just wipe them up for me, dude, and put them away. Floyd moaned about it. What? You been at it, your mates? Don't cry about it, mate. You've been at it, your mates. It's fine. Do you have a good time at your mates?
I'm not gonna have time to go.
What'd you get up to at your mates? Brilliant. Brilliant.
Okay.
Oh, look, it's traitor to the team.
Hello.
Oh, it's Monkey.
It's alright,
Hi.
dude.
Hello.
How are you?
Ask Auntie Emily if
Oh,
she
yeah.
wants some done. Right.
Yeah, you.
Ask Auntie Emily if she wants some done.
Oh, man.
It's the traitor to the team. And I didn't call you that.
Oh, really?
Message Mike who set the server up.
I don't want to.
It's alright. You should hear Gary's
Oh, I'm
name.
dead, Matt.
Nice.
What have you put Gary down as?
Oh, I haven't put Gary down. Right, so let me tell you now, right? Mike has done them all. He set the
okay.
server up and just said, oh, I've created a team server, and if we could try and get Monkey back, I've added Monkey to the entry list. It's only the team that can get in it, right? So me and Mike are down as team owner manager. Dan's down as number one driver, which I had a few debates about, but Mike said he's won 9 championships, and I was like, oh, fine, whatever. Ben is down as team driver, Daz is down as team driver. You're down as traitor to the team, Sutty's got no name, and Gary is once upon a time champ.
Oh, brilliant.
He doesn't know it yet, so please all keep quiet and let him find out tomorrow.
I've just looked up with doing sectors because he is. Right, pushes, that's the one.
Good.
No more's getting done. That's it. Done. That's me testing done, Monkey.
Oh, I always put boards on the track.
Probably Sutty.
Fuck's sake.
So yeah, the what?
I'm a second off the leader at 208 dead. I did a 209 dead, and that was after how many laps on them tyres?
What did you say?
9 laps.
Fucking Monkey boy got beaten
So
by
the
a
quicker
girl.
you do them,
So did everybody else.
So he didn't.
E1 Racing.
He knew better not to get his ass kicked by a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now the girl's not racing because of all you lads. Terrible.
It's not me. Don't blame me.
Not me.
Now I
Not
know
me.
you stuck up for her, Dan. Now you stuck up for her.
I still think it's a sus account.
By the way, BTCC made BBC Sport today.
I don't particularly care.
Oh.
Why, what they doing?
No, basically the Northern Ireland section of BBC Sport said that Chris Smiley has signed for Restart Racing again for next year in the Hyundai.
Yeah, in the Hyundai.
Fuck me. It's sector 3. I'm losing all my time.
Told
Put
you
your
that
foot
tricky
down.
section.
That's where
And
the
sector
Lexus
2.
loses all its time
And
as
sector
well.
1. Seems like recurring theme here, Dan. Every sector.
You're just wank. By the way, Matt,
Yeah.
who come up with the stupid idea of putting SimPlay Racing Team as the fucking name? Because whenever people
Mike.
seem to search SimPlay now, they end up going into the team one or trying to enter the
Dude.
team one.
Mike told me about it on Monday. That was the first I even knew about it. He set it all up.
Monkey Boy's not allowed in there because he's a
I've already been
fucking
in.
greasy bandits wanker. What?
Yeah, Mike's put his name down as traitor to the team. Go away.
It's alright, Monkey. You're allowed in.
I haven't even been in there once
I
yet.
don't care.
Damn
Go
it,
away.
Fuck off! I'm number one
season.
driver, you cunt.
Next
It's
season,
all right.
anyway, Matt, I'm banning
Gary's name's once upon a champ. Mike's name Gary.
Oh, fuck me.
I think
It's
Mike's
alright, don't worry,
basically
Monkey Boy,
the discussions.
I'll get a nickname fucking traitor later.
The discussions the other night was that
Well,
we're trying
you
to
go.
win Monkey. The discussion the other night we're trying to win Monkey Boy back to the team. You know, the one that he traded us,
Why?
left us for. Why? Well, we need someone to pair with Sutty and Pro-Am, don't we?
Yeah, but why?
Oh, the OGs together.
It's either that or Dean Wasocki, innit? Who would you rather?
Okay. Fuck.
Not Monkey Boy. He's wank. He got beaten by a girl.
Poach Ellie. Get Ellie. Ellie and Sutty next season. Deal.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do it before John tries to.
It's alright, Monkey. We get beaten by a girl all the time, Dan Davis.
That means the entire grid gets beaten by a girl then.
Surely I don't count. I'm only a GT4 driver, please.
You've lost to me before, so you count as well, you
No! I was in the party chat last night, and when I was on about it, I can't remember who I was talking to about it. And I said, your dad were in the party, and I said, I argued this fucking #1 driver thing, and Mike's response was, oh, but he's a 9-time champ. And I went,
Iron Man putting camera air time on the YouTube
You
race.
racing like the Monkey?
No.
and I turned to your dad, Dan.
Yeah.
I turned to your dad and I went, well, he'd only be an 8-time champ if he won GT5s. Oh, wait, so subject. And Kelly went, don't fucking start.
I'm surprised.
I better not. I better go and join them lot.
Oh, look
I'm
at him.
surprised. I'm surprised he didn't turn around. I'm surprised he didn't say that one of my
I don't
championships
like
is
being on
thanks
my
to
own.
him as well.
It's not as enjoyable, Monkey.
So you're not going to be allowed in the Greasy Bandits chat. Oh, me. You don't want to be in there anyway. You don't want to be in there. If there's some scouse wanker in there, I don't know if you heard my stream last night, Monkey Boy, but if there's some scouse cunt in there, you don't want to be in there.
Did you upset him last night?
Did I upset him? Did you not see race 3?
Yes. As soon as it saw him coming, I thought, fuck me, this is going to hurt.
That was
He
like Gary
upset
back
me.
at Motive.
Fucking honestly. He hadn't even had the decency to apologise to me yet. And then when I was streaming Football Manager earlier, and I said it on stream, John just replied with, oh, he's travelling back to England to sort out an MOT on his car, and he's trying to do that and then get back in one day to race tonight. Well, still, a message last night saying, you know, apologising would have been fucking handy, but no. Cunt.
Oh, it sounds like you're losing in that chat more than ever.
And he quit. And he retired, Monkey. And then he starts having a go at NLR Randy in the chat, right? Effing and jeffing at NLR Randy about driving standards. And Mike piped up. This is mid-race. I could see it all on my PC. Mid-race, Mike pipes up with a screenshot of turn 1 going, mate, I think you need to check your own driving standards before you start slagging other people off. And he's like, I don't care about my driving standards. Like, right, you fucking will do when I start with you, knobhead. And his response was, I'm Scouse, I'll say what I want. Right, well, if we're going to fucking play them games, you've put me in a mood. I'm going to say what I want.
I was surprised you didn't lose your rag more. Especially after that second incident.
Where's Kieran?
Monkey, I saw that, by the way.
Which one?
The spin at the fucking S's.
What are you on about?
Yeah. I've already clipped it as well.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Where's Monkey qualified?
I'm not.
Last.
Right, I'm on board with Monkey.
Kieran's not
Fuck's
racing
sake,
tonight anyway.
Oh, that's an interesting line. I wouldn't say that
Oh,
line,
Sutty,
then,
I've
Monkey.
noticed the weather's changed again.
Lois, I want to remind you of the time when you go balls deep in the cow Scherzinger. Do you
Yes.
wish you were still balls deep in her, or do you wish you were gay?
Gay.
Matt, I just sent you a TikTok. Watch it quickly.
Okay. Monkey Boy's message. Thanks for the team name. You're welcome. But speak to Mike.
Oh, that was nice.
Oh, I
like
seen
that,
this
Monkey.
earlier.
Monkey's going for Paul here.
I saw it earlier, and do you know what? I honestly looked at the TikTok account to make sure it wasn't you.
What, me making that noise?
Me making that
I
note, yeah.
walk a different place every time going into a Monkey.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my
I've
god!
done exactly what you've done.
Sorry, where the fuck are you on this list?
7.
I'm in the pits.
You're looking at the wrong end of the fucking list, Dan. He's 8 now.
You are wank!
Oh, I'm done. My setup's done. I don't do qualifying laps. We know this.
Yeah, and what happens every time when you do that?
It's alright. I've got 3 setups that I got half an hour ago.
That you'll change in mid-race to decide I'm going to retire and just change it quickly.
He's tweaking now. That's why he's thingy. He's tweaking now.
Hello from
do
Butlins again. Robert Rams. Oh, fuck me.
I do not like this track, by the way, Dan.
Yeah, he took his
I don't
kid
like
away
you,
for,
but,
he's just
you
put
know.
in the Patreon top. He took his kid away for a kid's birthday, thinking it'd be quiet and it's packed.
I love the fact as well, Matt, that Graham's already given up all these excuses.
Yeah.
Don't like this track. Don't like this track.
Mate, I've
Bentley's
had it
way.
for an hour. He's been in the party about an hour and 10. That's all I've heard.
Mate, he should drive the Lexus, then he will struggle.
You should drive with Darren Bell on with him. Oh wait, there's a chance tonight.
I think he's going for a strike tonight. He didn't quite get a strike last night.
No, he left a 7-10 split. Oh yeah, that was the other one. Monkey. I opened a ticket on Darren Bell. Would you like to hear what I put on the ticket thing? He must have been out temping bowling.
He probably can't hear you because you're very quiet, you dick.
Oh shit! Yeah, plug my proper mic in. Sorry. Monkey, do you want to know what I put in the message to Tank in the ticket? So I filled it all out, and I went, he must have been out temping bowling, left a 7-10 split, and I left it out. Yeah. Here's what it is.
Oh, yeah. That's what it is.
Sotty, you're 3.2 quicker than Monkey Boy. A whole 3.2 seconds.
Don't forget, Monkey Boy put it in the fucking wall.
Yeah.
Lucas is racing.
Yeah, he's back.
I was on two wheels when I set that lap time, wasn't I, Matt?
Oh, the amount of times I went on board with Gary last night and he was on fucking 2 wheels.
I think I've hit every curb on this track.
Right, best go in the comms box and
Back in a second.
Monkey Boy for the next like 3 hours.
Well, fun.
Please do.
You know, me and Monkey Boy will accommodate you with laughter, don't you worry.
Oh, I can't wait. Best of luck, boys.
Thanks.
Soon a bit, Dan.
I reckon you should just stay in here with me, Monkey.
Yeah.
I'm
I
here
would,
too,
but-
Sutty.
Oh, hello.
Aren't you, Peony?
I'm not racing, but I'm here too.
I think you should just stay in here with me and fuck them off.
Fucking.
What they like in the party.
They're annoying because there's a scouser in there.
That's what I mean, so just stay with me.
Fucking. It's alright until something goes wrong.
They're not like us where we have like a little sort of swear or we're a bit miffed and then we just have a laugh.
No. It's proper fucking serious.
You're doing it wrong when you take the games too seriously, aren't you?
Oh, fucking. Yeah.
It's a fucking video game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, you paid your 40 quid for the game, plus however much on the DLC. You pay your 50 quid a year for PSN Plus, or Xbox Live, and you fucking on a games console. And that's spoken by someone who's on a pad. Yeah, and I don't race anymore, and I'm not trying to either. I'm just keeping the Patreon going to support the channel. And so no one can have my number. And I might do the endurance races and have someone carry me in their backpack. And not in the Jag. Tony be watching Crummy Pool, wouldn't he? Football. Ugh.
fuck's sake. Right, I better shoot over there. I'll see you in a bit.
Can't believe that you're mugging us off for that.
Oh, fucking. Bye. See you later.
He'll come back if Tank's in there swearing his head off.
I will.
Just come back if you get annoyed.
Yeah, I will. Oh, don't worry. Race one, I'll be back.
All right, see you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
I better go for a wee in a minute.
How about a sad wank?
Well, I've got time.
You've got time of 30 seconds, ain't you? Oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, well done.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Kieran not racing again.
Probably not. So cute.
Okay, good luck, Sutty.
No, alright, mate. I'll put you there.
Phil, tell him what fuel he needs.
I don't know. I wouldn't know, would
Well,
I?
just
All of it.
Still.
20 minutes first race, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you in a bit, boys.
See you in a bit, mate.
Evening, boys. Love to see you all. The other two are loading in. Is Tank racing tonight?
He's in the UK. He's in Liverpool.
Fucking helmet. Best of luck, boys. Love you all. Evening, Justin. John, good luck. Jamal. Hiya. Evening.
I'm good.
Good man. Monkey.
Good afternoon.
Shit. Yeah, best luck to all of you. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.
I'd stay and talk more, but I'm running late. Some problems here. So best luck, mate.
No worries, Joe.
Right.
Well, you took your fucking time.
Yeah, James being a cunt.
Lovely.
Right, okay.
Weather has already changed so much.
Yeah, it's meant to be raining.
No, there's only a slight chance of rain. It's been cloudy and then sunny like fuck. So I'm going to do the calculations in a minute. But right, we'll go live in 5, 4. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport here for Pro-Am this evening. It should be an absolute cracking night of racing. There's 3 weeks from the end, and this man is sat in the prime seat for that championship that he could possibly move one step closer to tonight. Needs a cracking night's worth of racing to bring him closer to that championship, and maybe will definitely be making that step up into the pro category. The gap he has at the moment is 164 points. There is still 339 points up for grabs. 113 points of them are there for tonight. So what will he be able to do? Richie Michael, as he is called, not Michelle. We was told in the Discord last week that it is Richie Michael. And it's just the way it's spelled in Italy is why we thought it was Michelle. That's what we was told. But Richie Michael is the driver that is out there for this evening. I'm joined in the commentary box once again by Dan Davis. Dan, it was a cracking Pro-Am at GT4 night once again, but it's very mixed weather here tonight. The clouds keep drifting in, the threat of rain lingering around the circuit as well. It's going to provide even more tricky action for these drivers out there tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So you say a tricky night worth of racing, definitely for yourself, Matt. It was an interesting night's worth of racing for the GT4s, but nonetheless, it was great action. We had some really tight runs to the line, and Kota already delivering in some dramatic racing that we see here tonight. And yeah, Richie Michelle getting a little bit closer to winning his first title in the Pro-Am class. Will be up in the Pro, but if anything, in the Ferraris of Justin Winter and Stephen Millington at the minute in decent pace. Can they do anything to stop the Lamborghini driver? As I think the Ferrari will be looking quite mighty around this circuit this week.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Was watching a bit of testing throughout the week, and that Ferrari looks a good car as well. Obviously, I watched a bit of yourself and Fraser O'Brien the other night. That looked an interesting sort of bit of test session there. But what a night we have in store at this circuit. It is going to be an interesting race. Track limits, Dan, are the key talking point around this circuit, aren't they? Really provide some tricky sections for the drivers. And really strict track limits around here as well. It doesn't take a lot to run off the circuit to pick up that warning, that strike, maybe even then the drive-through penalty. We saw a couple in the 20-minute races last night of GT4.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, we went from one circuit at Valencia to this circuit at Cota, and obviously track limits was moaned about at Valencia. It is definitely enforced here, and I don't think anyone will have any problems with the track limits here. But this is the problem with this circuit. It's very slippery as well. This track is very tricky to get right, and with the slipping around and making mistakes, you end up running wide, and there's a track limit there even when you've probably lost time rather than gained, and that's the lovely way of how this game works. Sometimes other circuits you may take so much advantage and it doesn't penalize you, but this one, for some reason, it does penalize you for going literally, even if you decide to sniff the white line, it's going to penalize you.
Yeah, it will penalise you indeed, and that's what makes this track so difficult. But it is the end of the free practice. Richie Michelle topping the timing screens with a 2:08.0, very tight between the top three, 33 hundredths of a second, as Steve Millington now decides to make it 5/10 of a second and go P1 himself at the end of the session. Good grid out there tonight, 25 cars. DJ Phil has just got himself in. The Jackal will obviously be in for race 2 as Justin Winter comes towards the line now. What a session and what a night this is going to be for all the drivers in this race here this evening. And yeah, it's an interesting one. It's going to be an interesting race. But Dan, who are you looking at in this first race?
Well, we got Graham back on the grid after a couple of races missing out, so maybe possibly he can do something. Stephen Millington in the mid-pack there as well could be a car to look out for, but the Wind-Up Motorsport boys on the front row as well, they could be one to look out for. But I think in this one, I think I'm going to go the way of Jamie. He's been looking quite strong in the last couple of races. Lost out to Ellie last time at Suzuka. Possibly can he get a race win in this one in the feature race, in a sprint race? That is the question. But the other thing the driver's got to look out for is Lucas's internet there at the top of the session. Is looking a bit red. Obviously down in New Zealand, I believe he is. Yep. Yeah, we're just going to have to keep an eye on that. But a lot of drivers in the chat are saying they come for the drive-throughs, and Skunky's going with 7 driving-throughs tonight, and Overtaker's saying, I'm saying a drive-through lap 1. That's a bit excessive.
That's bold. Probably. That is
bold. Very bold. I'm going to say a drive-through lap 3.
The question I want to ask Skunk is that 7 drive-throughs tonight or in this first race? I reckon that you're looking at least, you're possibly looking double fixed. Well, it would have been nice to see Graham at the front end of the pack, but he's missed the start, as has Cranky Duckhead, as has DJ Phil. So a good chance for Graham starting P4. He's now starting from the pit lane. And once again, that kind of messes up the lovely graphic we have to show you of the grid order, in which we will run through for you now, which has kindly been messed up by that of Graham. But round 19 here at Cota, it is Lucas from Matthew Hicks on pole position. Ian Best would line up P3 with Graham Sutcliffe now not in P4. P5 would have then been that of Jamie with Michael alongside him in 6th. Cranky Duckhead would have been in 7th with DJ Phil P8 for them to also start from the pit lane. Rob Smith is 9th with Monkey Boy behind him. Then it will be Playerman and Stephen Millington in P11, P12. P13 for Luke Saunders with Mirko Ritchie, P14. Paul Williams is P15 ahead of Lando Norris in 16th place. Then it's Sam in 17th with Gary Clarble, P18. John Gooday will line up P19 then alongside Stephen Beck, who is P20. Robert Smith, P21 from Old Sim Racer 22. Although it's glitched out, actually. It was meant to be Justin Winter, sorry. It's put Justin Winter at the back. Then it should be Old Sim Racer Dennis Hansen and Richie Michelle, but Justin Winter has been demoted to the back due to, obviously, Darren Bell not being able to make the grid in this first one. And I do believe we are I think we're 3 drivers short actually tonight. I'm sure there was 28 drivers. I think we are a 3rd driver short. Not quite sure who. But it will be Lucas then who will lead us away in this qualifying session, and that's going to be the interesting thing to keep our eyes on throughout this evening and throughout the whole of tonight to see what will happen here. As I've actually just minimised the stream and not the grid order. So there we go. Good evening to Robert Ramsell, Paul Williams, PM Motorsport, Matt Wright, Phil Afton, that's DJ Phil, Overtaker, Skunky, Fraser O'Brien as well. Odds on Matt and Ian taking each other off first corner. Please don't let teammates take each other off. I won't live it down, especially next week. Dan will absolutely slaughter me if teammates crash at Alton Park. And he already knows where I'm going with this. So it's going to hurt me. PN says that it wouldn't let Sutty select drive. Well, Sutty's going to have to wait until the race here. Now, I've got a website that does simulations in terms of the percentage of chance for rain or dry or full wet. There's only a 17% chance of the whole session from start of free practice 1 to the end of race 2, 17% chance of a mixed session. So, like we said, rain is around. Whether it will appear, that is the other question. The pit stop time for Kota, if you refuel for 1 litre, it is 37 seconds. A drive-through will cost you 29 seconds. A tyre change will cost you 64 seconds. You only lose with a tyre change pit stop 51% of the lap. One of the less harsher pit lanes for tyre changes here, Dan. Could be a real option tonight. Track temp at 24 degrees, a track that is very gruelling on the tyres.
Yeah, definitely so, and like I said earlier on, very slippy as well. It's a slippery circuit, so with lots of interesting corners as well, so you're going to suffer not just from understeer and oversteer as well, so the tyres are going to have a very hard beating this evening, but it is going to be Lucas starting on the front row. He is quite laggy, so we're going to have to see how he gets on in his sprint race and then determine what to do for the feature, but we'll see. I know a lot of the drivers have been concerned about internet lag, but at the same time you've got to give these guys a chance to try and participate, but we'll see how they get on. And Lucas, though, will come out the final corner with Matthew Hicks on the front row. It's going to be BMW versus Ferrari, and next week I'm looking forward to Alton Park to see 2 Hondas take out each other, but until then we're going to have to deal with that. And Jamie's ended up back in the pits now.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
he's waiting in pit lane.
Jamie's, he drove into the pit lane then, so unsure why Jamie's
on the end of pit lane.
Then that's an interesting one. He will have a qualifying badge later in the day, but we are green and go for round 19 of the season. It's a good start there from what is Lucas so far as Matthew Hicks coming up the hill. Ian Best, that's a great dive bomb from Michael up the inside as Lucas goes a little wide, as does Matthew Hicks. Chaos in the background, bit of a pile-up. Fireman was a car that was a little sideways in all of that, but coming down in towards the Silverstone-like S's for the first time. God. Everybody is away. What's happened, Dan?
There's just cars everywhere. There's cars literally I don't know who's where and what and how, and I don't know what was worse, GT4s or that. That was just a confetti of colour. I thought I was looking at a firework. But yeah, Jamie's been in the pits and he's back out again, but not sure what happened. But Lucas still leads the way from Matthew Hicks, who didn't quite get the jump on him. But Michael with a very good start, and yeah, Richie Michael has got a lot of work to do as well. He's at mid-pack, he's 14th, and he's got a little bit of damage to the front of his car, but I don't know what on earth what happened there.
Well, Mirko Ritchie, his teammates, just sent one up the inside then of that of Ian Best and makes the move stick. Here comes Stephen Millington on board with him. Down the back straight here at Kota. There's no corner names here, and he's just turned 1 to whatever the last corner is. That's literally all the names. But Stephen Millington losing out to the BMW M4. The GTR that Dan's just said of Michael going up the inside of Matthew Hicks. At the bottom end of the straight, Lucas is very, very wide at that corner, and the GTR using that grunt, Dan, to pull up the inside. This Nissan could be a favourite to win the race here in race 1.
Possibly so. It all depends on how grippy it is on the corners. And he just had a little slow mo. Meanwhile, Playerman's had a coming together with one of the BMWs, and more chaos as I believe Gary Clarbor's had a spin, and he's trying to get himself going. He's trying to have a good race just before he has another op, I believe. So he's going to miss the last 2 races. From what I was reading on the Discord, I might be wrong.
I think he's got an op coming, but he's not sure when it is yet.
Yep, so he really wants to end the season on a high, but he's in the middle of a scrap with a few cars, but they're all over the shot at the minute. No one seems to be able to know where they want to be.
Just doesn't look like there's any grip out there for some of these drivers. They are just all over the place at the moment as they all come down in towards the final corner. for the first time. Michael leads this race. We've missed that one happen, but Michael leads. Godzilla pulling away already as here comes Lucas to look up the inside of Michael into turn 1, and he has a lunge. He spins Michael around, taps him, and then they make a little bit more contact again. So Michael in Godzilla spun around there, and he's got to now have that painful weight of everybody coming through. Paul Williams having a look of Sam behind to attack him, but no can do there. Then it's Monkey Boy just behind them. We drop down to Rob Smith. There's a car off on the gravel. That is Lucas. He has waited for Michael to get back going, so has waited there. Graham's already made his way past Jamie as these two came from the pit lane to start the race, and they're already down the order in this one. So poor start for Graham really by missing the start. Obviously couldn't press drive, not the way he'd have wanted this one. Start. Good evening to Tips and Jamal Clouden in the chat as well as they come down the hill. Once again, Dean Wasaki's also there, as is Matt Wright in the chat. But down the hill comes Matthew Higgs and Mirko Ritchie having a look to send one up the inside. And this can be the problem with Kotadan and being caught out. Corner entries at the hairpin go so wide that somebody can lunge up the inside and just misjudge the braking and end up in the side of you.
Yeah, they can do, but also if you run wide and allow you get yourself a slingshot, they're able to get the run. But Stephen Millington looking very quick here at the minute, and he's on the back of the Lamborghini and the BMW as they head down towards the left-hander. And Mirko Ritchie's trying to get closer to the Beamer, but can't quite get close enough. All relatively even-powered cars, probably the BMW slightly quicker of the three. But up the inside goes Stephen Millington on Mirko Ritchie. Not really, Mirko Ritchie, and not really an overtaking opportunity, but he gets the door slammed right in his face, and Luke Saunders out of all that has worked his way up into 4th as he's now in ahead of all this gaggle of cars.
Yeah, we was just watching this fight between Saunders and Best and Stephen Beck, as Best and Stephen Beck just make contact there. That's allowed Gary Clarbel and Richie Michael up another place as John Goodey had to take avoiding action and go wide. There's now a BMW in the middle of the road, and look at old Sim Racer side by side with that then off Sam coming through the Istanbul-like corner, but it goes to the right, not round to the left, and old Sim Racer now to the outside. Ferrari looking pretty good around here, but the BMW's no slouch at the moment as well, and Sam there looks like he's got the move done on that of old Sim Racer, so a good move there for him as everybody down the back end of the order are trying to make their way forward. There's a lot of damage to cars here, Dan. Tell you what, Sutty might be able to pick up some places after the pit stop, as might DJ Phil and Jamie as well, and Cranky Duckhead, because there's a lot of damage to cars. And Monkey Boy's now having a look. He's a little interested on that of Paul Williams into turn 1, but backs out of that. Williams though goes wide to avoid old Sim Racer, and Monkey Boy's run completely hurt there by the slow cars in front, and now he's got Michael behind him, and that Nissan looks really racy today.
Yeah, it does, and obviously this race is going to help him out massively. It's a shame he got caught out earlier with Lucas, but the pit window is now open. At the minute, Matthew Hicks is actually starting to pull away from Mirko Ritchie ever so slightly. Stephen Millington was on the rear of him, but obviously the dirty air going through the S's of the Maggots and Beckett's replica has caught the Ferrari out, and now he's just dropped off the back of the Lamborghini. Luke Saunders, though, is under some immense pressure from Justin Winter as they head up into the hairpin.
We're down on board with Michael at the moment, literally on board the dashboard camera here as they come in towards the hairpin corner, towards the back straight. There's Monkey Boy in front, as is Paul Williams. The only reason we want to ride on board with this is he had a mega run earlier that we didn't get to see. Now let's see the run that Michael might get in this Nissan. Through he comes down the back straight then, on the back of Monkey Boy, a bit of slipstream plus that power of the Nissan. Look at it gaining and gaining in a straight line as he comes down towards the bottom end of the straight. He's already pulled out on Monkey Boy. Got to judge the braking, absolutely perfect, and under braking, gets up the inside. Has he got the move done? Yes, he has. That Nissan seems a beast in a straight line.
It does indeed, probably the second fastest that we'll see this week, and it's definitely managed to outgrunt the Mercedes-Benz. His next target is the McLaren, but he's going to be a while because that McLaren is solid in the corner, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer there. But nonetheless, it is a good pace there from Michael as he tries and works his way through the pack once again. But Luke Saunders, Justin Winter, has fastest lap of the race, and everyone else just falling into place. There's Richie Michael. He's currently in 6th place, and Steve Beckett now pits. Stephen Millington pits as well, so he's one of the early stoppers from the front pack, maybe to try and get some clean air from Mirko Ritchie and on Matthew Hicks as well, who are now starting to get close together once again.
And Dan, one man I don't think we've mentioned in the first 7 minutes of this race, Dennis Hansen, is down in 18th place at the moment as Ian Best, Lando Norris, Lucas all come into the pits, as does DJ Phil, Cranky Duckhead. Graham is going to choose to pit as well. What about Jamie? He also comes into the the box, and this line comes up very, very quickly. Our dear friend Mike Matthews knows all about that from practice on Monday night, but pit stop's already done for Stephen Millington. On his way out the pit lane he comes. Doesn't look like he's repaired any damage to the front end of that Ferrari, so that's going to be interesting, but it's that, like Dan says, it's that dirty air that he's out of that is going to be crucial. Justin Winter now with Richie Michelle setting fastest lap is right all over the wing of that of Luke Saunders. Is he going to pull out and have a look up the inside in towards the hairpin onto the back straight? No, he doesn't.
Mirko Ritchie's just taken the lead as Matthew Hicks goes very deep in the hairpin, and he did not need a second invitation to that one. So Mirko Ritchie up now into your race lead. So his teammate's been very mighty this season. They've been taking race wins. Maybe it's this time to try and finally get a race win to his name.
Yeah, let's see what Mirko Ritchie can do then. It's a great start for him, maybe getting that chance to get the race win like Dan's just said, and this could be an interesting one here today to see what Mirko Ritchie can do. But Justin Winter now under pressure from his teammate, Mirko Ritchie's teammate Richie Michael, who's going around the outside of the right-handers. And I'll tell you what, he's got it done at the first time of asking there as Richie Michael. So great move from him. He's moved up yet another place and moves into P4 in this race at the moment. Michael down the order has got past Old Sim Racer. So that Nissan, even though it's had a moment at turn one after being hit by the Ferrari, is on a charge. Looking down at the pit runners though, everybody come out. Where did Graham come out? He actually came out last and worse off somehow than everybody else.
Yeah, he's not done well out of that at all. Maybe he's accidentally changed his tyres, but he is classic Graham.
Yeah.
Luke Saunders has come into the pits, and that's just released Richie Michael, and I think it might be a possible chance for a 1-2 for the Team Richie Corsa pairing, because everyone just seems to be jumping out of Richie Michael's way at the minute. It just seems to be relatively easy for him at this stage.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It does seem like everybody is pulling out the way. Rob Smith will be the last of the pit runners to box then. So Stephen Millington, he was the first runner in the pits to box, and he's coming into the final corner now. There's Justin Winter pit stop done just before Luke Saunders, but I don't think he's going to have the jump on Luke Saunders because it was only minimal. He has then, right, so there he has.
Massively.
Got it done, even though it was
Sim Racer nearly gets him as well. Sim Racer, I think, has got Luke Saunders.
So it was minimal on the change of the colour to green, so it was definitely on the pull away from the pit box, but Stephen Millington through comfortably over that of Justin Winter. Here comes Sam and Steve Beck, but they're going to fall behind then that of Justin Winter. Have they got the jump over Luke Saunders and that of Old Sim Racer? Yes, they have. And look at Old Sim Racer and Luke Saunders racing up to turn one on the pit exit. That gave me Fernando Alonso and Kevin Magnussen vibes from last weekend's Qatar Grand Prix.
And they're still racing at the minute as Luke Saunders is just trying to defend the inside as the McLaren of Paul Williams just try and find a way to hit. This is where the McLaren should be better than the Beamer, but it can't seem to stick with him at the minute. The front end doesn't seem like it wants to turn in at all as Michael is out dragging the Porsche down the back straight. Should be easy enough against the Porsche, the slowest car, against probably the second quickest car in the straight line, and the Nissan is through on the Porsche. His next target is then another Porsche, Gary Klarbel, a man we haven't talked about who's been doing all right. Just John Goudet, minding his own business at the minute, and he's sticking to the back of Richie Michael at the minute. So yeah, good drive here so far for John Goudet. Let's see if he can keep that up.
He's been plodding along, hasn't he? And like you say, we've not seen him at his best in this Mercedes, and this reminds you back to 2 seasons ago when he drove really well. At the moment, John Goudet is having a pretty good race so far. He's currently running in P4. It's Gary Klarbel behind pits. Matthew Hicks has also came into the pit lane, so for the time being it will be a 1-2. Big twitch on the back of Richie Michael's car then. As Playerman also stays out, as does Michael. Robert Smith stays out as well. Dennis Hansen into pits. Dennis Hansen, Dan, not really spoke about him. He's only where he is because of the drivers that have pitted. Got nothing in this race at the minute, has he? We just haven't seen anything from him.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen what happened to him early on in the race, bringing him further down. So obviously he's just got no answer to anything at the minute. One, don't know what damage he's got. Maybe he's got. It doesn't look like he's got damage to his car either. So. Yeah, not sure what he's what's struggling there. As Matthew Hicks is leaving pit lane, but he's not done his stop, so that race win it's going to disappear now.
And Stephen Beck, Steve Beck and Sam, both from the FBR stable, make a bit of contact with each other coming through into the final corner. Steve Beck gets past that of Sam and just dropping back that Old Sim Racer with Luke Saunders.
Stephen Millington, fastest lap of the race.
Right. Clear air, bit of damage on that car, but clear air is the crucial thing. Gary Klarbel's come out ahead of Stephen Millington. So Gary Klarbel, has he? Sorry. No, he hasn't. Stephen Millington has just gone through Sector 1. But Gary Clarball, he was about to end up in that Paul Williams scrap. There's Dennis Hansen, who's actually ended up on the back of that Paul Williams scrap. Luke Saunders has lost out to both that of Old Sim Racer and Paul Williams. And where is that Nissan all of a sudden? It's yet to pit. It's up in P4 at the moment. John Gooday's within a second of Richie Michael here. So John Gooday's Mercedes. It looks like Richie Michael's got a bit of damage on the front end of the Lamborghini, though. That's possibly costing him around this circuit, especially performance maybe on the straights and a little bit on the corners.
Yeah, but remember last time out we were here at COTA, John Goudet does say he does quite enjoy American circuits. He has run very, very wide through that final sector, but he does seem to do quite well on American circuits, and here he is at the top end of the pile as well. The 280, that's Lucas. He gets the first drive-through for track limits. So number one for Skunky there. I think he's gonna play drive-through bingo. It's now which drivers are going to get the drive-through. So Mirko Ritchie's in, and Richie Michael is in, and John Goudet is in.
They've all got to be in, Dan. I thought Richie Michael was staying out for another lap, but he can't because he has got to pit to get that stop done. They've all got to come in, even that of Matthew Hicks. His player man comes charging in and nearly ends up into the back of Robert Smith here. Matthew Hicks has got to come back in for a stop as well, and I thought Richie Michael was going to carry on there. It was a late call for him to come into the pit lane. It was very interesting to see. Down the order, there we go. DJ Phil is in a scrap with that of Lucas, Cranky Duckhead and Jamie. Cranky Duckhead's about to go around the outside of DJ Phil at the hairpin. Phil misses his brakes, as does Lucas, as does Cranky Duckhead. All three of them go off, and Lucas takes one. Can he get... Jamie takes one. Can he go around the outside of Phil? Yes, he can. That is two moves done there for Jamie, by both of them two just running deep. As Matthew Hicks is back into the pits. Where is Stephen Millington? He's already gone here, and he leads this race, Dan, by a comfortable margin.
Yeah, by a country mile. Way out in front he is there, and there's going to be a lot of work for the rest of them too. Justin Winter has managed to stay ahead of John Goudet there. So John, again, his pit stop seems to be his fault. He was right on the back of Richie Michael, and now he's just nowhere near him. So what on earth is he doing wrong in the pit lanes? Because he's now going to be under pressure from Gary Clarball, Steve Beck and Sam.
Yeah, he is. And is that running half fuel even in the sprint race and maybe it's topping up too late? We've seen that drivers have done that all season, and well, for John it's not worked here. And like I say, he's got Gary Clarball, Steve Beck, Sam just there. Michael's back up into P10. It's a great recovery drive for him. Old Sim Race is close to Paul Williams, as is Luke Saunders and Dennis Hansen, who's 13th. Robert Smith, then it's Monkey Boy down in 15th. Playerman 16th from Lando Norris, with Rob Smith, Matthew Hicks, Ian Best 19th and 20th. Jamie's 21st with DJ Phil, Cranky Duckhead, Luke's in for the drive-through, and Graham should get past that. In fact, has got past that of Lucas. So Graham down in 24th place. But you're right, Dan. John Goudet, his pit stop there has cost him a little bit, and he's ended up some nearly 5 seconds off the back of Richie Michelle before the pit stop when it was just under 2 seconds after he'd gone deep.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. It's it's a lot of time to go. It's about 5 seconds he's given up, I would say, you know, and 3-4 seconds he's given up there, and yeah, he would have been slipped right in between Richie Michael and Justin Winter, who's gone extremely wide as well in the middle sector. But Stephen Millington under control. As soon as he pitted early, he knew he needed the clean air, and as soon as he got that clean air, he's looked mighty out in front. Yeah,
he has looked mighty, and you know what? To be fair, Richie Michael might be taking this one and thinking positive about it, because it's points over Dennis Hansen, who is 10 places behind him, and that is a real big point swing. 45 points at the minute for Richie Michael in this race.
Oh, Luke Saunders is off.
Only Luke 18
Saunders run wide.
Oh, Dennis Hansen. Go on, Dan.
Luke Saunders running wide and wide again, and just dodging out of the McLaren and the Ferrari, and Dennis Hansen going deep in the final corner, and Luke Saunders comes back up the inside. So now they're going to go side by side as they head down towards turn number 1. Luke Saunders on the inside with Dennis Hansen to the outside, and the BMW out dragging that McLaren. A slight damage to the front of the McLaren, as you can see, but Luke Saunders gains that position, but he runs wide again, but he should manage to have it covered as they go into turn 2.
Yeah, he should manage to have it covered, and a decent bit of driving that from Luke Saunders and Dennis Hansen there, but mistakes that cost them both in the first place, so they'll obviously have to try and rectify that going into this next lap or two. Just looking at other battles down on the track, we know that one of Dennis Hansen. We got Rob Smith is now trying to get past Jamie with DJ Phil just behind him. Cranky Duckhead is on the back of Ian Best, who's tumbled down a couple of places here. Graham's only 5.9 behind him, so what can Graham try and gain on these drivers as they go along? We've lost Lucas from this race. He has got to three-quarter distance, so he's retired from the first race, but will score points for that three-quarter distance here, and that's a shame for him.
Dennis Hansen and Luke Saunders are going at it again. They're side by side. The McLaren going against them. The BMW once again. And Luke Saunders should just get the straight line advantage. But it's now Robert Smith who's joined the party as well. Dennis Hansen going back into the tow. And again, he just can't stick with that BMW.
No, seems to be struggling. And is that the damage in the McLaren, Danks? It doesn't look massively damaged, but I would have thought the McLaren would have been a bit of a match for the BMW down the straights. Clearly not at the moment. So just struggling out there for that little bit of pace.
Yeah, definitely so, as Luke Saunders has had his own moment, and that's allowed Dennis Hansen up the inside, and that's obviously where the McLaren seems to be better and the BMW just a little bit more loose. But either way, Dennis Hansen up another position. His next target is old Sim Racer, but can he keep Luke Saunders behind him? Because these two have been battling for now a lap and a half, and he's finally cleared him. Gary Clarborn, meanwhile, has got it onto the back of John Goudet, who's still hanging in there in 5th place position, and Justin Winter as well just gained a little bit on Richie Michael as they head up towards turn number 1. So once again, Matt, fights are happening to the very, very end here.
Yeah, very, very end. We're on that final lap of the race. Stephen Millington is where he's through the S's. He's coming into a tricky part just into sector 2 now, and Justin Winter is under a second then, as we're going to go back down to Robert Smith, who's set one up the inside of Luke Saunders. Was there any contact there? Not sure. They're still side by side coming out the exit of turn 1. So an interesting race here already. Drive-through penalty, DJ Phil. He had a few drive-through penalties last night in GT4. Well, it's another drive-through here tonight for DJ Phil. And he's got 2 laps to do it in, so that's a shame for him, but that'll give Graham another place. And a drive through them for the 204. That's Justin Winter. So all that pace he's had, all that work he's done to move up to the front end of the grid has just been ruined by that drive through penalty.
Yep, and he's right on the back of Richie Michael as well. So where I thought Richie Michael looked quite competitive, that Lamborghini seems to be struggling. It's actually his teammate Mirko Richie seems to be pulling away from him, but he's currently got a Ferrari up his slipstream, and Justin Winter probably don't want to really fight the Lamborghini too much. He's got to drive through this end. He's going to go around the outside of the left-hander. Can't do a Lando Norris.
He can't finish this drive-through.
88, there we go.
Yeah, I just thought, Dan, apologies.
None
of these can do their drive-throughs. No, this is just going to be a bog-standard 30-second time penalty. Skunky. That's 4 in one race, so I don't think there's going to be 2 in an hour. Somehow, I think you have underestimated some of these drivers here a bit tonight. But yeah, it's going to be Stephen Millington at the minute then, who's coming round the final corner. What a start to his evening. It is going to be the race win. It is going to be the fastest lap. And for Steve Millington, great drive here in the first race of the night. What? Oh no, he started the final lap, so they can do their drive-throughs. They've got to do their drive-throughs. And Justin's carried on.
He's probably thought that he has to serve the penalty, and now he's just carried on to it, and that's him crossing the line being told that he has to serve it. So Gary Clarborn now onto the back of John Goudet, but what that also does is allow an opportunity for others to get a drive through, and he might get salvaged by that. But Michael's sending up the inside of Steve Beck as they go to turn number 1.
So Michael going up the inside of Steve Beck. Steve Beck coming back at him. Michael looking for the up and under then towards turn 2. And here comes Michael round the outside. Very brave moment to do this as they come in towards the Maggots Beckett section. Just runs onto the curb a little bit. Does he back out of it? Yes, he does. I remember having an incident with a good friend of yours, James Ash, through this section of the circuit in the previous F1 Championship we did, as Matthew Hicks comes in for his drive-through penalty. Will DJ Phil? That should give Graham another spot. Graham, by the way, is only 3 seconds off the back, so the extra lap he'll probably be thankful for. But at the moment, Justin Winterdan, what he's going to try and do now is try and pace it and pace it and pace it and get as much up the road and try and gap that at least 30 seconds, I believe, that the penalty will be.
Yeah, we will see, but he's going to drop the order massively anyway, yeah. So he should have probably gone for the pit laners. Meanwhile, Gary Clarborn side by side with John and Goudet, and down the straight they go, and that Porsche should get out-dragged by the Mercedes-Benz, but the Porsche's still sticking there.
Yeah, it's not losing too much as Gary Clarborn looking up the inside. John Goudet now turns into the corner, has to leave the space, leaves just enough there. Great bit of racing from the pair of them, and John Goudet hangs on into that position for the time being. Gary Clarborn, though, looking racy here today. Right, we come towards the final part of the circuit, and this time for sure, Stephen Millington is about to come to the line and cross it to win the race, and he comes out the penultimate corner. Great strategy from this man today. Great race win so far for him in this first one. What a strategy call it was, Dan. That was perfect from Stephen Millington. It was absolutely beautiful. He wins race 1 as Mirko Ricci's coming into the final corner to take race 2, to take P2, should I say. Great drive from Mirko Ricci. Really well done for him. Richie Michel, P3 on the road tonight. Richie Michael, sorry, P3 on the road. Justin Winter, P4 on the road, but penalties to his name. And then what's happened behind? Because John Gooday's lost out. Steve Beck's going to cross the line, P5. The Nissan of Michael is P6. John Gooday 7th. Paul Williams 8th. Gary Clarball 9th. Old Sim Racer 10th. Dennis Hansen's 11th. Luke Saunders is just going to hang in there over Robert Smith for 12th and 13th. Sam then will be P14. Monkey Boy crosses the line, P15. Playerman will outdo Lando Norris to the line for 16th and 17th. And then Jamie to the line, made recoveries, piece 18 after starting from the pit lane. So decent comeback drive for Jamie. Rob Smith in the old Ferrari 488 is coming to the line in P19.
Oh, Graham's dropped it.
Oh, he hasn't, and I bet he's gained a couple of places, hasn't he? Here's Cranky Duckhead 20th. Yep, Graham's 21st. He's dropped it and lost out to Ian Best. So Ian Best is going to take P21. Graham will come across the line for P22. And then Matthew Hicks, P23. And DJ Phil down in 24th place. Skunky changed his mind and said 7 in the first race, he says.
Yeah. Either way, he was wrong both ways. There's going to be more than 7, I think, in the feature race. Unless they've all learnt their lessons, and he might still get it bang on yet. But, yeah.
Oh, Justin Winter, Dan, 17th in that race. So Steve Beck 4th. The Nissan P5. And let's not forget, the Nissan was around earlier in the race.
Yeah, it was at the front. And, yeah, it's a shame that happened for Michael. But nonetheless, he's worked his way back up. Steve Beck being, well, minding his own business. P4.
Yeah, indeed. John Gooday P6. Out of all that lot. While we get these points into the bag, we will be back in a few moments' time with race 2. Don't go anywhere. Clear. So DJ 24, Paul Williams 7th. Sam 13th, Rob Smith 19th, Old Sim Racer.
Green light, go, go, go.
Old Sim Racer. Old Sim Racer, Old Sim Racer, 9th, Robert Smith. 12th, Monkey Boy 14th, Winter 7th. 13th, Dennis Hansen 10th, Luke Saunders 11th, Graham 22nd, Cranky 20th, Clarball 8th, Lando Norris 16th, Fireman 15th, Jamie 18th, Matthew Hicks 23rd, Ian Bass 21st. Right, it's going to go to the toilet, dude.
Change it out, so
You're not live yet, are you, Matt?
No, why?
Can't get back in.
Can't get back in what, the lobby?
Yeah, it glitched on me race 1 as well, wouldn't let me press drive.
Are you sure you're entering the right password into the right lobby?
It's not even letting me search SimPlay, mate. It's not coming up with any of them.
Share your screen a second.
How do I do that again?
Into the party and share screen.
I'll show you. Party. Shared media, is that it?
So you go into the party, and then it's
I'm on it
two screens next to the invite players.
I haven't got that.
Yeah, so
Invite
into the
again.
party where you can see me, you, and Dan.
Oh shit, yeah, I've got it, yeah.
Thank you.
It's only come up with them as well. This is strange. It did it to me, you know, race 1, but then let me in eventually, but then wouldn't let me press drive.
Have you got crossplay?
Yeah, it's on, yeah. Yeah, look, I'll press it, that's it, off, look.
Refresh. You've got to refresh the list all the time. You didn't have it on, look.
Yeah, no service found, all that.
Right, turn it off and refresh. Saying 2 of 2 and then not.
Yeah,
Turn your
that's what I mean, it's not
PlayStation off and on again.
I'll try it again,
Yeah.
That's what I did the first time after, you know, it messed me up the first race.
Are you putting SimPlay with the capital P, yeah?
No, because it's not even finding the server. Normally I put Sim.
Yeah, but it's with a capital P, isn't it? No, the server's the same with a capital P. Why is it saying no service found? Yeah, just turn your PlayStation off and on again and just keep trying that, dude.
Yeah. Trying to tell me something, innit?
Alright,
I'll try that.
Alright, no worries, dude.
Green light. Give it all you can.
Cranky's just put in Discord, Lando doesn't do tickets, his ego's too big. Fuck's sake. Right, we'll pick up the first close out. It's brilliant.
Might have worked now, Matt.
Yeah, no worries.
No, it still hasn't. But it's come up with more, you know, servers than it did last time on the main one.
Share screen again, please.
Oh, I certainly will.
Okay, so if you search SimPlay, put your ping limit down. Yeah, look, your ping limit's on 50 ms for some reason. Just there you go. Off. Now go to search for server by name. That's circle. Brilliant. There you go. Yeah. Right, I'll let you go to the other party, dude.
Right, nice one. Let's see if it works this time now. Let's try again.
Right, that's looked good.
Alright, see that, mate.
Okay. So we'll go back live in 5, 4. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport here for the second race of the evening, round 20 of the championship. The championship order makes for very interesting reading, especially if you're Richie Michel, because that championship is one step closer. He leads the way by 187 points with 283 left in the bag tonight. It could be all done at Alton Park for him next week. Dennis Anthony second from Alt Sim Racing. Justin Winter P4, but he's been closed now by Robert Smith and Stephen Beck after that drive-through penalty. John Goodays in 7th with Gary Clark 8th. Mirko Ricci back up into the top 10 in 9th place with Paul Williams 10th. And it's Stephen Millington just outside the top 10. He's been very, very good this season. Lando Norris from Luke Saunders, Casper Olin, Robert Ramsell, Playerman Brian Craig, Francisco, Monkey Boy, Kieran Argent, Rob Smith, DJ Phil, Cranky Duckhead. Michael climbing up the order as well. Good night for him. Darren Bell, Ellie from Jamie from the Jackal, Graham, and then that of Ian Best, Dean Vigas, Matthew Hicks, Lucas, and Dean Wasocki down the bottom of the championship standings. Constructors table looks like this. Team Richie Corsa excuse me, are 223 points clear. A lot still to play for, remember, from the Team Dane train. Stage 2 Motorsport with Greasy Bandits, Team Tom, Forever Forward, Cam Racing, Team FBR, who are the first team that can't win it. From Roadrunner Bandits, McLaren Racing, Team Merlot, Naval Racing, Team 2, Speedy Gonzalez, Wind Up Motorsport, and the Greasy Bandit Juniors at the bottom. Dan, pretty interesting race that one, in which the Ferrari took the race win. And in what will be a night of milestones, a week of milestones as well for drivers. Paul Williams making his 50th race start in this second one. Mirko Ricci made his 50th race start in the first one. We're in for more race 2, aren't we?
Yeah, we're in for more in race 2, and we're in for more track limits, I think, as well. Just the qualifying session is going to be vital as Robert Smith sets the pace with a 2:7.7. And I think as well, this is where your mindset and nerves are going to kick in. You want to make sure you get that lap time on the board as Richie Michael goes into second, 2/10 off. And I think now is going to be the real test here, this long race. You've done all the fun of racing flat out from lights to flag. Now this feature race is really going to test the drivers and also their patience with the track limits.
Which I've noticed one thing, Dan. The track has gone back to being fast, which I've not seen before.
Excuse me. Obviously, what day are we on now? Are we still on the Saturday?
No, we're on the Sunday, I do believe. I will just double check, but I am sure. Yeah, we're on the Sunday, so it's like it's gone back to fast having that day off. It has kind of knocked it back a bit.
Yeah, that's a little bit strange, but still Robert Smith setting that pace at the minute. Stephen Millington goes into third, Steve Beck already. Only 8 cars, the Jackal now making it into the session. Only 8 cars at the minute, managing to get a lap time on the board. A couple of drivers maybe carrying a qualifying ban. I'm not sure about that one, Matt.
Yeah,
but
Jamie, Lando Norris, Mirko Ricci, Justin Winter and Ian Best all on qualifying bans.
Well, there we go then. So a few drivers in the pits for qualifying bans to their name. And obviously yourself last night obviously was racing along around here. And obviously you failed to get a lap time on the board in one of the sessions.
Thank you.
How much do you, well, this is going nicely into my question. How much do you think reckons in qualifying here? Like, how much of a difference does it make? Obviously, yourself being caught up in a few strange incidences last night allows you to be put into the back foot as such.
Yeah, I think it's crucial around here. I think you don't want to be in that mid-pack, especially for turn 1 around here. Very congested, very tight. You want to make sure you've got a good space out front, or if you're at the back, maybe hand back a little bit. It's that mid-pack you don't want to be in, and that's where I found myself a couple of times last night. It can be treacherous. We know how bad turn 1 at Cota can be. You know, we remember back to a few years ago in another league we raced on, a certain Gary Leach. He went temping bowling that night and wiped a few of them out.
He definitely got a strike.
Oh my days, that was horrendous.
Was I in that?
You was driving the Renault in the Formula 1, and we was in the. That was the same season as the Canada race, Dan.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Stephen Millington moves up into second place by a tenth of a second.
Just remember, what's next on the calendar?
We love Dan. He's a brilliant guy. What a top bloke. Michael's the next man who's possibly going to be able to set a flying lap. 68 and 181. Look like they're on invalid laps, but we'll keep an eye on Gary Clauble and the 68 to Steve Beck, who Beck doesn't change. And Gary Clauble's coming towards the line. We're on board with Michael, though, in the Nissan at the moment. Gary Clauble also doesn't change, but the Nissan, going to be interesting to see Michael's qualifying pace here. Good evening to Cranky Duck, Adam, Benedict Varga and Peaceful Stepdad in the chat as well. As here comes that Nissan, and it had good pace in race 1. What can it do here in race 2? Only goes P10 at the moment.
Yeah, only goes P10 at this stage. But I do think the problem with the Nissan, obviously, I kind of might be able to have some form of idea of how it's going to handle. Probably because it handles a little bit similar to the Lexus, probably a bit bigger, heavier, and probably a little bit softer. But obviously, from what I've been testing in the Lexus, it's mighty on the straight. It's absolutely ridiculous. But especially the final sector and the start of sector 2, after you've done the Maggots-Beckett section, that's where these type of big vehicles seem to be struggling. Like, you can't, serious horrible understeer, then you get oversteer, and it's just a horrible sequence of corners for the big heavy cars as Robert Smith comes to the line and does not improve. Dennis Hansen has found some pace, but he's only gone into P4. Meanwhile, the top 4 at the minute, all at different manufacturers, but the BMW looking quite strong now with Steve Beck, Luke Saunders and Sam all up in that top 7 at the minute.
Yeah, looks pretty decent, doesn't it, around here as Paul Williams enters into the final corner at the moment. And what can he do as he comes towards the line for another flying lap? Doesn't improve on his time there. The 59 is now at the line, and the 59 is that of Steve Millington, who goes P1, so takes pole position away by 7 thousandths of a second. So what a lap there from Stephen Millington. The 999 then off the Jackal, 2.8 off. He's on his home circuit, wearing the Stars and Stripes on his car livery, but what can he do in that Porsche? We know he can only do the race 2s in a season, so it's going to be interesting to see what the Jackal can do around here, and see what he will be able to do as he comes towards the line, moves up inside the top 10.
He does indeed. As Graham seemed to have appeared to have PlayStation/game issues, and I think user issues as well. Can't figure out how to use his PlayStation very well, or use the servers, but he has finally figured out how to get it all going. And that Bentley, the more and more I look at it, the more and more I think how dated it is. It looks strange on this grid now, in my eyes.
Yeah, it looks out of place, doesn't it, a little bit? And I hope we get some more Bentleys back, because it'd be nice to see some of these older cars with the bot being used, as Luke Saunders doesn't improve. DJ Phil doesn't get a lap time, and in fact the next car to the line on a valid lap that we can see is that of Graham. There's Andrew and John to the line, but they don't improve. So here comes Graham. This is where he's going to prove us wrong and put in a sooty special lap, and to the line he comes. Maybe not.
I mean, for starters, it's not wet, and he hasn't decided to get the slicks, so which has only ever happened once, and now he thinks it's going to happen every time. But yeah, if you don't know what I'm referencing, Sutty thought that Sugo, he decided to put the wet tyres on and come out with a brilliant qualifying session, ended up starting second, and he had his moment of brilliance, and then after that it kind of went downhill after that. But still Sutty trying to prove that he can come up with these weird and wacky let's say, weird and wacky strategies that sometimes work.
Sometimes work, and it's kind of got that weather with rain around. It's kind of got that vibe that if it rains, Sooty could pull off something wonderful and wacky, and it could work.
It could work. Or it could be a complete and utter disaster.
Could completely be the opposite.
You either look like a hero, or you look like a complete and utter lunatic.
The Jackal to the line now, 1.9 off that pole position pace. Gets the line, moves up to 1.7. Steve Beck now to the line, needs 9/10. He doesn't find any pace here. That is Gary Clauble.
Robert Smith has taken the pole position back.
He has taken the pole position back. Gary Clauble now moves up into P4, meaning the top 5 are all different manufacturers. So come on, Michael.
John Goudet.
And John Goudet and Graham. And then it will be
Cranky Duckhead.
Cranky Duckhead as well, he's in the Honda. Yes, get them all up there, and that'll be fantastic. Here comes old Sim Racer to the line, slightly improved.
Sorry, John Goudet has left pit lane, and he's got major damage to the front end of his car. It's scuffed on the front. Luke Saunders now goes up into P3, but John Goudet is the front of his car. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a bit scuffed on the front.
On the splitter?
The whole front end, lights, splitter.
No, looks
bumper.
Fine on mine.
Strange on mine, it looks scuffed.
Not sure. The 666 of Dennis Hansen is coming towards the line as Graham moves up into P14. Now Dennis Hansen bails on that lap. Here comes the 117 of Robert Smith. Home circuit for him as well, the American. No improvement this time around. The 180 coming back round. In fact, we'll go to the 96 of Sam on an invalid lap, it says, but he comes around. 2 weeks left of the season, and more importantly as well, last week of drop scores for them drivers who have a drop score that is there to be if their lowest score is tonight. That it'll be interesting to see. So it's going to be an interesting one as Sam comes towards the line. He stays P8. Paul Williams will come to the line as well.
I'm staying on board with John Goudet as he's trying to get his outlap going. Stephen Millington now. Can he do anything about Robert Smith here as Richie Michael, just normally quite dominant in most qualifying sessions? Not here. The Lamborghini seems to be struggling here.
Yeah, he does. He's down in 4th place. He's only 3 tenths off the pole.
Struggling.
No, 3 tenths is not a lot, but at the same time, we've seen him dominant in qualifying.
Yeah, very dominant as he's now coming out of the final corner. I don't know if he's on a valid lap. No, he's not. But I might be wrong. He crosses the line, he's not, and he doesn't improve, of course. Nor does Gary Clauble, the next car that is on a valid lap. And this is what I was saying earlier, man. It's all about getting that lap time on the board. If you can't get the lap time on the board, then your night is pretty much done. DJ Phil now into the final set. He is now the next car that is on a valid lap. But right now, no real improvements from what I can see at the minute.
No.
As DJ Phil now exits the final corner, can he improve on 25th? That's hopefully get ahead of all the non-qualifiers. He does get a time on the board, and that is obviously important. Just in the background, John Goudet doesn't make it to the line.
Oh,
Monkey Boy to the line.
Yeah, Monkey Boy was the slowest driver in the lap times. He's just gone quicker than DJ Phil as Monkey Boy.
It'll be a sigh of relief on that one.
Do you want to say anything? Robert Smith towards the line now. Bit of a squirrel out the last corner. No improvement for him. Next car would have been Cranky. He's just invalidated. Where's Graham? Is he sat there in the Bentley? No, Bentley's done. Nissan of Michael, he's also done. So the next car on a valid lap is the 93 then of Richie Michael. Going to be interesting to see what he can do as they come down the start-finish straight. Down the back straight. Apologies. John Goudet says a valid lap. Matthew Hicks says invalid lap, but we'll see. Because sometimes the game doesn't change the dots. The 53 is now gone invalid of DJ Phil.
I'm just waiting to the very end now of this session to see who can make those final few improvements and changes. And Richie Michael can't really complain at the minute. His closest championship contender is Dennis Hansen in 6th place, and really is still quite comfortable at this stage, but he's into the penultimate corner, coming to the final corner. Still Robert Smith and Steve Millington separated by 800. Luke Saunders looking solid as well as they exit the final corner. Now comes Richie Michael, and he now goes pole right at the end.
Right at the end he goes P1, so he saved it for the last possible moment. Great lap from Richie Michael there. And that puts him up into P1 and another point to his name. Here comes John Gooday. It moves up into P6 with good qualifying for him. And then the last car is the 88 of Matthew Hicks. What can he do as he comes around the final corner? But left it very, very late there, did he? And, well, Richie Michael, fair play. And he's had a bit of a qualifying like you there, Dan. He's left it till the very end and takes that pole position.
He has indeed. And like you said, extra point to his name. He will lead the pack away, and we'll see what he can do from there. But nonetheless, Robert Smith will want to try and get the race win back on his name. The earlier driver in this season that really looked quite dominant at Bathurst, had everything in mind and managed to get everything sorted. But ever since then, it's just not gone the way of Robert Smith at all.
No, ever since the hurricane really that hit Florida, he just hasn't seemed to be able to get back into the swing of things, has he? He's took his time, and obviously the non-qualifiers there. Mirko Ricci will line up 21st, Ian Best will line up 22nd, Justin Winter 23rd, Lando Norris 24th, and Jamie 25th. So they are the non-qualifiers then in this session. Who are you going for in this one, Dan? It's going to be an interesting hours-long race. The track limits, I think, are going to play an absolute key role in this race to see who's going to do what.
Yeah, definitely. I think track limits is what is going to be that, and I think it needs to go to a patient driver, someone who can take their time and work their way through the order and not take too much advantage of the track limits. Who are we putting the curse on tonight? That's the question.
30 seconds.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't want to curse anyone. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. That is the problem. So we'll leave it. We'll let the audience decide.
No.
Okay.
I'm going for it.
10 seconds.
Robert Smith.
There we go. Let's see what will happen. Dan's been Robert Smith. I'm going to say nothing. Now, is it me, or is Richie Michel's car parked on a funny angle?
It'll straighten up in a minute.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
He's like Max Verstappen. He's aiming for turn 1.
Oh, there he goes. It straightens itself up now. It's aiming for turn 1. Straightens itself up now. The gap's 188 points with 57 available in this race. Obviously, the pole position point goes the way of Richie Michel. And if he outscores Dennis Hansen by 38 points in this race, he wins the championship tonight. So
Sorry,
just
say that again?
38 points or more. So 39 points or more, he wins the championship tonight. So if Richie Michel wins it, that'll be 55 points. We're not talking fastest lap. 37 points from that is... So that is 31, 33, 35. So if Dennis Hansen finishes 13th or lower, with Richie Michel winning with fastest lap... winning without fastest lap is 13th or lower. Winning with fastest lap is 14th or lower. And the championship could be done tonight.
I'm glad you figured those maths out, because I really could not be bothered to figure that out myself. And that's why you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
When I say big bucks, nothing. But we're about to get things underway here at COTA for the second and final time for the Pro-Ams here in America. But while we're at it, make sure you hit that like button, guys, and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss any of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport. We've still got 3 wonderful rounds of Pro still to come. Tomorrow night will be their first of 3, and then we've got the final double header at the British circuits of Donington Park and Autumn Park. One of them's great, the other one's almost as bad as Snet, probably worse than Snet actually.
No.
I'm still, you know what, I was sitting there thinking, what is actually worse, Snet or Brands now? You know, cause,
Brands?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, well, to be everyone knows, I'm not a big fan of
British
British circuit.
No.
Silverstone's alright, yeah, a great double header to finish things off in and finishing things off at SimPlay's home circuit, and what I figured out as well, it seems to be a lot of leagues' home circuit, yeah, it's strange. But yeah, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to be notified. Make sure that also while you're at it, head over to our Discord and also our SimGrid as well. So next season, when the new year comes around, you can get yourself signed up in the Pro and Pro-Am category. Unsure what the side series is going to be yet. It's going to be down to obviously the drivers in the chat to decide what they want to see make a return. We could see the Porsche Super Cup come back, or we could see the GT4s return, or we might have something brand new. Ferrari Challenge, Super Trofeo, M2, possibly the GT2s. Who knows? Maybe a GT2 and a GT4 championship, multi-class. That could be something to discuss about. But either way, the drivers will be up to them to decide what they want on the calendar. And also don't forget to have a look at our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. Design Manchester, they are producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing and much more, including SimPlay merchandise, and their Facebook link is in the chat, as is Audio Sports, with manufacturer of Volkswagen Transporter T4 audio solutions, styling products, and head over to their website www.audiosport.co.uk, and there's the Facebook link as well, as I time that beautifully as all the cars come into the final corner, and I then move things on to Matthew Duffin. Take us away for the second time tonight.
What he forgot to mention was also there is a Patreon. If you would like to pledge £3 a month, you get some of the fantastic perks. But for round 20 of the championship, it is Richie Michelle who is leading us away in the start of this second race, heading towards turn 1. We are for round 20 tonight. Long wait, well past the line. But we're green and go here as they come under the bridge, and let's get racing then at Cota. Up towards turn 1, Stephen Millington and Luke Saunders going pretty well together. John Gooday's having a look to the outside of turn 1 as well. Gary Clarble a bit of a tap up the rear of Stephen Millington, and we all get a traffic jam, but all looks like pretty cleanly through this time. No yellow flags have been waving, and Richie Michelle comes away well. But look at Luke Saunders side by side with Gary Clarble through turn 2 in towards the S's now. But Richie Michelle got the start he wanted, just dropping down the pack a little bit. Cars just side by side filtering into position, and look at Sutty Apex there with side by side with the Ferrari of Rob Smith, as we're on board with Jamie then, who's had a bit of a good start, got up the order after that qualifying ban, and just behind him look Sutty and that of old sim racer, sorry, not Rob Smith, going side by side through the S's. Brilliantly done from the pair of them, and it's just all nice and easy and patient through the first couple of corners. The 95 has dropped to the back of the pack.
Richie Michaels already having to defend. Sorry, Matt, I'm having to butt in because Robert Smith is looking to the outside, and he's had to be a little bit contemplated there, because here comes the Ferrari now of Stephen Millington as well, and Richie Michael is under pressure. The BMW now a straight line advantage going down the back straight, and the Lamborghini is going to have to defend the inside of turn 1, but they've got to be cautious because the Ferrari is just behind them, and Robert Smith with the straight line. Is he going to send it around the outside? Is he going to do a Lando Norris? No, he is not. And Richie Michael goes very wide, and that's going to allow an opportunity for Robert Smith to go around the outside. Job done. And here comes Stephen Millington. He wants a bite on the cake now and wants a way through as well. But Richie Michael looking up the inside, but Robert Smith seems to get that one covered as the Ferrari once again trying to find a way through. Is this all concertinaing up after the first couple of laps here, the first couple of sectors through, as to go into the final sector now, and still Richie Michael still giving a hard time to the BMW.
And that BMW looked mighty down the straight there, Dan. Richie Michael didn't have any answer for it on the brakes in towards the corner at the bottom end of the straight. Now Stephen Millington's all over the back of him in that Ferrari, and what a drive he had in race 1. Can he make up for it here again in race 2? At the moment, Gary Clarble and John Gooday going side by side out the final corner, just behind them two. Then this is for 6th and 5th and 6th place, and as they come through, John Gooday's got the run on the Porsche, and up the hill they go. Gary Clarble now might come under a bit of pressure from that of Dennis Hansen, looking up the inside in towards turn 1. John Gooday runs a little deep up the inside, looks Gary Clarble, but can't get it done there, and everybody through nice and cleanly. Good opening lap though down the pack as well, as we drop down towards Michael in the Nissan. He's ahead of Mirko, Richie, and on the back of Paul Williams down in 13th place. But everybody, Dan, still pretty much together. Great opening lap. One thing I'm noticing in the weather as well, that light cloud has drifted even more, so it's more sun than cloud out there now, so this is really going to hurt these tyres. 25 degrees track temperature, and these S's in that final sector is really going to make them tyres squeal and sing as the race goes on. Mirko Richie coming under pressure from Justin Winter, dropping back to DJ Phil, who's got Graham looking each way he can. The only right-hand drive car on the grid in that of the Bentley, and Graham just sat behind DJ Phil at the moment. Look now, looking to have the the momentum. Will we see a possible Sutty send it? Oh, he's tapped into the back of Phil. Phil manages to catch on to that great stuff there from DJ Phil. And old Sim Race is now going to look up the inside of the pair of them. Up the inside he goes. And Sutty trying to be opportunistic, getting the switchback. Can't get it done because Sim Race was stopped on the apex. Now here he comes in the Bentley, on board with Graham. On the camera on the left hand side of the car, he's got the grunt in that Bentley. Look at it pull on the Ferrari 296 down the back straight. They go, and they're both coming on DJ Phil. This is going to be a huge move. Sutty send it into the hairpin. Didn't think so.
No, he didn't, but DJ Phil's run very, very wide. Meanwhile, while you were commentating on that, Stephen Millington had a look at Richie Michael, but more importantly, John Goudet has got the fire up his backside, and he is looking on the rear end of the BMW, Luke Saunders, who just seems to be a little bit of the cork in the bottle at the moment, and holding everybody else up as the top three start to disappear. And right now, Sam is defending from Matthew Hicks and the Jackal. These guys have been going at it for a couple of laps, and Michael is just on the back of them as well. So fights happening all the way up and down the order. The only driver really to suffer out in turn one at the start of the race was that of Rob Smith. Everyone else though managing to negotiate these corners relatively well.
Michael gets up the inside then of that of the Jackal, as here comes Dennis Hansen side by side and John Goudet side by side into turn one. John Goudet goes up the inside at turn one here with Luke Saunders right around the outside. Gary Clauble defends from Dennis Hansen. John Gooday's past Luke Saunders and cleared him pretty comfortably. Paul Williams had a yellow flag on the last lap, so not sure what's happened there. DJ Phil has just gone up the inside of Monkey Boy in towards turn one, so DJ Phil's now making moves on Monkey Boy, and he's trying to come through the order once again.
Richie Michael right on the rear wing of Robert Smith. Robert Smith had a terrible couple of corners there, and now he's going to become under pressure from the Lamborghini driver as they head up towards the top end of the start of Sector 2. And the Lamborghini in the tow, but for some reason does not have the top speed. The Lambo not the strongest in a straight line in general. It sounds fabulous, but it just doesn't do anything. It's all just noise, as Robert Smith does not have a great exit. And the Lamborghini right under the rear wing. He's going to have to be brave into turn one, as they're all concertinaing up behind John Goudet now. But Lamborghini versus BMW down towards the left-hander. Probably the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit. And is Richie Michael going to look for it up the inside? He's going to try and be later on the brakes. Robert Smith sees him, and he manages to just not make contact. But he's on the outside for then the next corner, and he's going to make himself vulnerable to Stephen Millington. And he's just waiting for something to happen between these three.
Apologies, we're just taking a couple of tablets there. 4 manufacturers in the top 4 as well. John Goudet, like you say, he's just got to try and pull away from Luke Saunders now, but the top 3 having a cracking fight at the moment. Richie Michel now kind of having to be a bit defensive on Stephen Millington at the moment as they come through the next part of the circuit, the Istanbul section off the track. That's allowed Robert Smith just to pull away just a little bit here, and in towards the final couple of corners. Gary Clauble's looking racy though. He's on the back of Luke Saunders with Dennis Hansen, then Stephen Beck, Sam, and what was Matthew Hicks. It's now Michael. Michael's up to P10 again, so he's having another great run. DJ Phil's now fell behind Graham, but Graham's got past him and Monkey Boy, so Graham move up to 15th. Old Sim Race's 19th place. And then look at these here. Ian Best, Mirko Ritchie, Lando Norris, Playerman, Rob Smith, all involved in a fight here. Great to see this little battle as Mirko Ritchie goes up the inside of Ian Best. Lovely move from Mirko. Best trying to get the up and under. Didn't get the run out the final corner. What's happened, Dan?
Dennis Hansen has made contact with Gary Clauble, and he's just stopped on the exit of the hairpin, and then everyone else joined onto the scene. Obviously he'd been waiting for Gary Clauble to get going, and he has, but yeah, he's ended up dropping down the order. But meanwhile the top 3 once again still
Jackal's into the wall. Jackal into the wall big time. He's actually managed to just come away with a scrape there. Justin Winter there as well. No, Justin Winter's still going. But no,
Justin Winter was off. I came on board accidentally, and then he was off circuit.
So not sure if they've two sides are coming together, but the Jackal into the wall. He's just dropped behind DJ Phil on rejoin. So top 3 still together, just spread out a little bit. John Goudet still now under pressure from Luke Saunders, but Steve Beck moves up to 6th. And Michael in that Nissan running P7, but Sam's looking up the inside into the hairpin onto the back straight. Sam moves up the inside. Oh, Dennis Hansen!
That's clearly misjudgment of brakes there. Locked up. Could not get it stopped, and then at that point, where do you go? You either go left and hit everyone, or go right and hit the back of someone. So I feel Dennis Hansen's pain there, and I think this is going to be the start of his championship slowly disappearing away. Meanwhile, Jackal in the background is looking up the inside of Sim Race. Monkey Boy's there, DJ Phil's there, Graham's there. It's all quite tight in this fight at 14th and 15th place positions. But yeah, Dennis Hansen there just misjudging his brakes. Meanwhile, Robert Smith has disappeared now, as Stephen Millington is starting to give Richie Michael, I've been saying his name wrong all season, I want to say it right now. But,
I know what you mean.
He's under some immense pressure from the Ferrari as I say that, and Stephen Millington bouncing all over the curb, as is Luke Saunders fighting John Goudet. So after John passed him, the BMW's pressurising him again.
Yeah, the BMW looks like
BMW's looking good.
They're looking mighty, and Luke Saunders looks like he's came alive after the first couple of laps. Here we go, up into turn 1, looking up the inside. And John gives him the room on turn in, but Luke Saunders didn't commit to the corner, so John's able to tuck back in. Justin Winter side by side now with Matthew Hicks. This is for 9th and 10th, and Justin Winter up the inside. Lovely move there from Winter, and that is job done. Gary Clarbell just behind them with Michael and Dennis Hansen down the order. Then it's Graham, DJ Phil. Oh, DJ Phil's tap monkey around. Oh, then DJ Phil just stopped stationary.
Yeah, not sure why drivers just suddenly stop stationary to allow cars to get through. It's not going to work. You're going to have to keep going and then wait. And DJ Phil finally moves out of the way, and Monkey Boy finally gets going. What was it? Richie Michael needed a race win, and Dennis Hansen to be 13th.
Race win and Dennis Hansen to be 13th or lower. So if Richie Michael somehow wins this race, I think his name's Michael Ritchie is what I'm going to go, but because of the M Ritchie stuff, he calls himself Richie Michael. So if Richie Michael wins this race, at the minute would be, and I'll just double check this on the stats pages that I've got in front of me, but could be race champion this evening if he can get that race win. He's lost second.
Steve Millington's got him, and up the inside he goes back once again, and that's very tight and ambitious, but the man who's been dominating all season is struggling here in COTA. And he's still on the outside there. He's just going to hang over Stephen Millington on the inside, but obviously tighter line there, and has really affected his exit. And Robert Smith long gone into the distance.
Right.
Don't drop it, mate, because I put your name down for a race win, so hang in there, please.
It would be 14th place and a race win. It would be 13th place with a race win and fastest lap for Richie Michelle to win this race. But at the minute, he's not got fastest lap. At the minute, he's not got that race lead. It is Robert Smith who is doing the business so far. John Gooday's just gapped Luke Saunders a little bit this lap. Just going to drop down to other fights as well. Justin Winter's gaining on the back of Jamie. Jamie didn't qualify, by the way. Gary
Clarbell's gone wide, and Michael's up the inside of him in the final corner. Not quite able to get the run, but he should be able to out-drag that Porsche. And right behind him is the McLaren of Dennis Hansen trying to recover, and again he hasn't got the straight line there. He just has not got any performance in a straight line.
The McLaren and the Lamborghini just seeming to struggle as Michael gets through, but yeah, it's interesting fights at the moment. Graham's not too far behind in 14th, dropping down the pack again. Rob Smith trying to stick with Lando Norris, and again Lando Norris is normally running around the top 10. We've not seen him up there, nor Paul Williams. That McLaren is just struggling today. At the moment, the only one who's not so far is Jamie, and he qualified at the back, don't forget, with that qualifying ban. Millington, though, has just lost a bit of time to Richie Michael this lap, but it's 3.8 seconds out front, and that is huge. Back down to Gary Clarbell and Dennis Hansen. Now they are separated by barely anything, and that is, who's that? That is Sam in the Team FBR McDonald's car round, and a bit of damage on the front end. Graham will get through as Sam now spins it round, as we just see, and carries on his way, but drivers now up the order. Well, that'll give Dennis Hansen an extra place, and that'll give Dennis Hansen an extra week to try and win this championship. But Dan, it's looking doom and gloom at the minute. The 99 is also round again. That is Monkey Boy with another problem.
Yeah, he's had another incident or nothing, another coming together with someone. But Dennis Hansen, though, a lot of work to do.
I think Monkey Boy's tyres are knackered because he's just come into the right-hander, hit the brakes, and the car went left. And now he's hit the wall again as Monkey Boy. He has got some big damage on the front of that car. Luke Saunders, meanwhile, on board him, very, very close to the back of John Gooday at this moment in time. And he's looking for a manoeuvre somewhere, coming through the right-hander of what is Istanbul at the moment. Different lines through there. And, just getting on the curb was Luke Saunders, and onto the grass he goes. So just taking the wrong line, touched the curb as it raises ever so slightly, and off onto the grass. That'll give John Gooday the breathing space he needs.
yeah, maybe he can start pulling away from this gaggle of cars and try and get onto the back of Richie Michael and Stephen Millington. But Robert Smith out in front, got it under control. A little bit of pressure earlier on at the start of the race, but one thing we've got to mention, Matt, obviously a big thing that's been this season, obviously the pit stops have been the main talking point. What has Robert Smith done in strategy? Has he gone light? Is that why he's got this pace? Is he trying to gain that advantage? And Richie Michael possibly fueling a lot more and possibly struggling with it?
Possibly so. I'm guessing as well, by the way, look at the state of the marbles. I think this could be the tyre change race that we've kind of been predicting at some of the warmer tracks this season. I think round here you are possibly looking at that tyre change. It's 25 degrees now. It went 25 degrees pretty much straight away, track temperature. So it's getting warmer and will get warmer provided that cloud cover doesn't come. So it's going to be interesting to see what the fuel loads are. It's going to be interesting to see what the tyre changes are. If you're changing tyres, fuel load goes out the window. That's not going to matter. So it's going to be down to who's tested that hour-long race and to see who's done what in that preparation. Currently with old sim racer and Mirko Ritchie for 14th and 15th place. Mirko's making his way through the field. Been very disappointed by the Lamborghinis. I know Mirko and Richie Michael got second and third in race one, but been disappointed by the Lamborghinis' lack of pace this afternoon.
I mean, yeah, I've driven it here. Justin Winter, meanwhile, is attacking Jamie down into the left-hander, and up the inside he goes. Also, Matthew Hicks is under pressure from Michael behind. And Justin Winter, once again, is characteristics of a very, very twitchy Ferrari. Has not just hold up Jamie, but himself as well, as now Michael and Matthew Hicks get onto the back of him straight away. And whatever Justin Winter does to that car, it's incredibly twitchy. I've never known a car to be so twitchy.
Yeah, he's sideways through a lot of corners.
Planted.
It is, and he's been sideways how many times this season, Dan, through corners. Graham's coming under a bit of pressure now from Mirko Ritchie and that of old sim racer, the big Bentley, trying to keep hold of it here. Great to see the Bentley back out on the circuit once again. And great to see Graham back out on the track also. It's going to be interesting to see what these cars can do then as we come into this race. Millington's not gained much, has he, over Richie Michael at the moment. The gap's kind of stayed around that 7/6 of a second. There's a few changes to the list there, and that was Michael and getting past Hicks and Justin Winter getting past Jamie.
Michael's going on Jamie now into turn one. Michael in the GTR up the inside, using the straight line advantage once again, and gets past the McLaren driver. If power is what is doing to this second, helping Michael out, I'm sure looking forward to tomorrow night if that's how it's going to happen in the race. But
Overtaker also in the Mustang, that could be an interesting car to watch as well.
Yeah, definitely so. Another problem, obviously, just thinking, obviously, we're going back to the strategy. Obviously, if people go light in this race, they're going to give themselves an opportunity to be faster. But also with that, they bring the risk of track limits again. So do you go fast and change tyres and be light on fuel, but obviously try and make that time up, but you will be risking track limits? Or do you just try and be nursing the tyres and look after the car and stay within track limits, but be a lot slower? This is the kind of decision they have to try and make. As Steve Millington looks at Richie Michael, but cannot get his way through at this stage. As John Goudet has dropped Luke Saunders, and now Luke Saunders is under some pressure from Steve Beck, obviously earlier on going very, very wide.
Dan Michael still fighting with Jamie here, down in 8th and 9th place, and Michael now uses that Nissan GTR's power to get fully ahead. Is that what Richie Michael is doing at the moment? Is he just tyre saving a little bit, and that's why he's slower than Robert Smith, just off the pace, maybe full fuel, trying to save them tyres and look after them tyres as round goes Michael? Don't think there was any contact. I just think he lost a rear there. It didn't look strange like he'd been hit. It just looked like it went round under acceleration. An old sim racer. What's happened to Graham? He's dropped down to 19th place, and Mirko Ritchie's got damage on the front of that car. Graham's got damage up the rear of that car. I think that says it all.
Yeah, possibly so. As said, with all this going on, Dennis Hansen has managed to gain himself a couple of points. So far he's going to be taking it to Alton Park at this stage, but it's going to be a losing battle, I think. But Robert Smith losing time now to the two behind, as they're starting to gain back on him now. It was
20 minutes out.
It was 5 seconds into the race, and now it's going to be 3.1. So they have brought the gap down, but Steve Millington back on the attack again. 18
minutes into that race. That BMW has that strange characteristic around this time of the race, so it's going to be crucial for Robert Smith to see how he manages that characteristic gap. Just opens up back over 3 seconds. We've got Luke Saunders right back on the rear now with John Gooday, and he's brought Stephen Beck with him as well. So at the moment, it's a three-way fight here, Mercedes and 2 BMWs, but the top 4, all different manufacturers. Great to see. And this bop really has, we have to say, yellow flag. That is the 663. And who is the 663? So Michael has had another moment then. And that is through the S's. That has tumbled him down the order. It's promoted up to Lando Norris, so he's dropped down into 17th place. But one thing we can say is that there's another place for Dennis Hansen, and he will be taking every place he can. The number 12 has had a problem. That is also Graham.
Yeah, Graham's had a little excursion somewhere, and he's dropped down the order, possibly a little bit of rear-end damage by the looks of things to his car. From what I've been watching Stephen Millington, he's trying to take tight lines, and I think it's starting to hurt him now, because he's not getting the traction out of the corners to really get the run on the Lamborghini, and Richie Michael was able just to stay enough in front on the straights to allow Stephen Millington not really to do anything, and I think he really needs to focus on the traction zones to really gain a good advantage on that Lamborghini.
Luke Saunders here, both trying to attack and defend. Down the order a little bit. Where are we? 40 minutes into the race. The pit window will open in about 5 minutes time, so that's only 3 laps away.
Jackal's now overtaking DJ Phil towards the back of the grid. DJ Phil, though, I think has missed his brakes. He turns in, though, and Jackal can't quite get alongside, and Jackal drops in behind, who's got his rain light on by the looks of things. 40 and a half minutes into this race, and Robert Smith still got control of this race, but the Lamborghini of Richie Michael and Stephen Millington, the Ferrari, are not a million miles away. They are there or thereabouts for an undercut, and John Gooday still trying to keep the onslaught of BMWs behind him.
Very interesting race at the moment. No drive-throughs. Well done, everybody. We've done first race distance. Well, we've done the first race distance where we have 4 drive-throughs. We've got none at the moment in this second race. Michael, by the way, trying to make that comeback drive once again, looking up the inside of Lando Norris in towards turn 1. Through he goes. Yes, he does. Go on, Dan, sorry.
How many drive-throughs did we get in race 1?
4, 5?
4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4. So 3 to go for Skunky to be spot on. And Michael once again has to straight line the S's, and Lando Norris gets back through.
Don't forget, Michael's been hit on the rear as well by Dennis Hansen, so he could also have rear end
side.
Damage. Yeah.
He's got damage to the side of his car as well. So, so 3 more, and Skunky might have nailed it. But yeah, Stephen Millington once again gets onto the back of the Lamborghini, can't do nothing about it. Luke Saunders was a lot closer to John Gooday in the first sector, but then dropped off again in the second sector. So Steve Beck just with them as well, can't seem to do anything at the moment. Kind of just sitting and watching and observing. Dennis Hansen's got Gary Klarbel giving him a bit of a headache as well. And then it's the player man who's got Lando Norris, Michael, and Rob Smith, Paul Williams as well. And all these guys have gained out because a lot of cars have dropped to the back, and Jackal and DJ Phil have come together.
So Jackal and DJ Phil make contact once again. They're still side by side coming down the back straight. Graham's just in front, Cranky's just behind, and the Jackal now gets past DJ Phil, and DJ Phil tries to get into the slipstream, but they're all over the marbles here. That's probably not the best part of the track to be on. DJ Phil, as the Jackal comes back across the racing line, stays up that inside. Later on the brakes, DJ Phil is going to be, and misses his brakes by a mile, and Jackal has to get well out of that, and Cranky Duckhead may pick up 1 or 2 places. DJ Phil keeps hold of that position there.
Yeah, he's going to have to get that position back. That's gaining an advantage there. That was as clear as day. It's almost as bad as Max Verstappen at Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. You can't dive bomb and force another car to avoid and pretty much come to a stop to get the car turned. That's a little naughty from DJ Phil. Day late, dollar short kind of stuff. As Stephen Millington once again close to the back of Richie Michelle.
The problem is with Stephen Millington sitting this close to Lamborghini, A, it's damaging his tyres, B, it's hurting his aero, and C, Richie Michael is learning every single time where that Ferrari is strong and weak as well. So he's able to keep learning as every lap comes by, and Stephen Millington's then attack doesn't become such a surprise. The only thing that's got him going for a minute is that the pair of them are closing on Robert Smith, and possibly it went from Richie Michael defending to attacking, and that's where Stephen Millington can gain out of that.
Yeah, and he's been close, but never really close enough, has he, to sort of have a proper a proper look in this race at the moment. Richie Michelle just doing everything he needs to do. John Gooday still got them BMWs behind him. Great little drive from John Gooday here. It's not massively defensive at the moment, but it's still been a good drive nonetheless with that Luke Saunders and Steve Beck behind him. Gary Clarbell, the Porsche, by the way, is the strongest car at this circuit. Just to point out, it gets the most bop. So Sky Schundelmeyer should go well tomorrow night. Notice I didn't say another driver. Michael is trying to go side by side with Playerman down the straight at the moment. He's got past Lando Norris. He's now getting past Playerman. That Nissan, I love watching it down this back straight. It is just rapid.
If you think that's going to be enjoyable, wait till tomorrow when Harris and myself are in it in the Lexus. I think yes, the GTR is very, very strong in a straight line. I've obviously done my testing and practice already down that back straight, and other than Bathurst, this is going to be another a scary straight. Let's just put it that way.
Catalonia was terrifying when you saw your car just sort of drive into the distance.
Luke Saunders up the inside of John Gooday, but misses his braking by a country mile, runs wide. Now Steve Beck might be interested in then sneaking past, but decides not to at this stage, and well, they just have to try and get back in formation and try and come back at John Gooday, but Luke Saunders missing the corner by a country mile, and I still think Skunky's number 7 is on par to what I think is going to happen in this one.
It could be so. We're just looking at Graham there just before you were saying about Luke Saunders. I think that rear end damage is cost him because he's no longer got DJ Phil, but he's got Jackal and Cranky Duckhead hunting him down, and it's going to be interesting to see. But Steve Beck close to Luke Saunders, Steve Millington as close as he's been all race to that of Richie Michelle. What can he do then coming down the back straight in the slipstream at the moment? They've gained also though on Robert Smith over the last lap. Gap's down to 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, it has come down. But Richie Michael just turning in on the left-hander there, just able to make the corner. Pit window has now opened, and what would these guys do is see, if you're the leaders, you stay out as long as possible. The classic Formula 1 strategy is stay out for as long. Oh, Stephen Millington nearly hit to the back of the Lamborghini there as he just misjudged the final few corners there. If you're leaders, you always leave it to the very last minute. You wait for everyone else. Obviously, you will have that tyre advantage if you decide to change tyres as well. But if you pit now, there's no clear window at the minute out on track. Yeah, there's, was it the 79 of Ian Best?
Well, Millington's
to
in.
Williams. That is a bold call there, because if you're always at the front, you should always. But there is that one gap that you could possibly feed into. I don't know how well he's judged it, but it's between Paul Williams and Ian Best. That's only the real gap that you can really work yourself into. I think is a big call for the leaders to come in now. And again, John Gooday in, as is Steve Beck, and Stephen Millington has gone green. It's going to be interesting. Other drivers, if they decide to pit, Dennis Hansen comes in as well. So if I was the leaders, I would have stayed out for as long as humanly possible.
Yeah, I think I would have as well. Stephen Millington coming down pit lane. Going to go on board with Mirko Ricci to see if he feeds out just behind Mirko Ricci. Would it be the worst car to fall out behind? Because Mirko's no slouch at the moment. And as they come up turn 1, Steve Millington will come out just behind Mirko Ricci. So it's not a bad stop. Could have been a lot worse. But with other drivers pitting behind him, that's probably helped him out a massive amount there. So now Richie Michelle got back up to 2.5 seconds. Luke Saunders has not got the two cars near him because they have both pitted. And it's going to be interesting to see who comes out where. Steve Beck out the pits. Probably lost a little bit to John Gooday in the pit stops there. And we're just waiting for the other drivers to come out the pit lane now. Graham Sutcliffe is into the pits, and he was the last car in with Monkey Boy. So Graham's had another moment somewhere. Steve Beck, Dennis Hansen's out the pit, so he pitted. Old Sim Racer boxed as well, as did Lando, Paul Williams, and then that of the Jackal, who will be the leaders out to the back lot to pit. But no gaps, no battles really happening out there on the circuit. It's all just opened up. Robert Smith, though, has opened his gap back up to 3 seconds to Richie Michelle. So even though Richie Michelle's kind of not got that pressure, it was if that pressure of Stephen Millington was pushing him towards Rob Smith.
Yeah, possibly so, and I think now with Richie Michael given that a bit of release, he's possibly gone back into tyre air-saving mode once again. Just trying to nurse them a little bit as Robert Smith goes into the final corner. Both of these two are going to stay out another lap. The only thing that Richie Michael has that's quite handy for him is when Stephen Millington came back out of the pits, he's behind Mirko Richie. So if Mirko decides to go all the way to the end of the pit window, Stephen Millington has to try and clear this Lamborghini, and it's the teammate of the guy he's trying to overtake. This could be quite interesting. Luke Saunders carries on, Justin Winter now as pits, Jamie carries on, but also again it all depends on fuel. Did Stephen Millington decide to fuel a little bit less on fuel to be quicker at the start? Possibly not, because he was in and out pretty quick, but it's all about the fuel and what drivers have chosen to do. John Goudet has extended the gap to Steve Beck, so hopefully when Luke Saunders eventually pits, it all should feed in quite nicely, and it's a little bit flat at the minute as everyone's starting to pit.
Yeah, it's just gone a little bit quiet. Sam comes in, Rob Smith stays out, John Goudet is going to be catching him. What will Ian Best and DJ Phil do? They're the only two down the back of the pack. Graham, after repairing his damage, down in last place in this race at the moment. I believe him and Monkey Boy have been lapped. I'm not quite sure. We'll wait to see for the timing screens to update as Ian Best is in. So just DJ Phil out of the runners on this lap to pit. Sam's coming out the pit lane. DJ Phil carries on his way at the moment. Did Monkey Boy... So Michael's down in 23rd. He's been lapped. Andrew Taylor, Monkey Boy, he got lapped as well, as did Graham Sutcliffe. So their three races pretty much kind of ruined until the leaders start to really come into the pit lane. John Gooday's on the back of Rob Smith. That's within a second here, so that's pretty much the closest fight on track at the moment. And John's got to try and clear the traffic as well, because yes, he's jumped out of Steve Beck a little bit, but Beck's got that clear air, whereas John's going to be in a fight.
Yeah, he is. And obviously, you'd think as well these cars would be back markers, but they're not. They're fighting for position, and it's just the way the strategies have panned out. And John Goudet opted to pit early has now put him in a situation where he's behind a car that he doesn't really need to be racing with, but he is right on the rear wing of the Ferrari 488 Evo. And right now, he's in the slipstream. He should have the straight line advantage in the Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, but that Ferrari's quite slippery. He's not quite far enough alongside, but he's looking to turn in, but he can't quite get enough. And now this starts to hold him up. And this is where Luke Saunders is now pitting. So this could work out brilliantly for Luke Saunders if he nails the stop.
Got to nail the stop. John Goudet now being held up by Rob Smith, who drops the rear all on his own and hits the wall. And that's going to be even better for Steve Beck, because John Gooday's been held for that little bit of time, and now Steve Beck is on the back of, or close to the back of him. Jamie was on, Steve Millington was close out of Mirko Richie. Doesn't need to worry, Mirko's in the pits. That surprises me just a little bit.
Yeah, he did pass him already into the penultimate corner, so he already get the job done. So Mirko Richie probably thinking, what's the point in staying any longer? I'm not doing their job here. So he does decide to come back into the pit. But Luke Saunders is taking a while to get out of pit lane. John Goudet is out of the final corner, and they're coming towards the start-finish line. And Luke Saunders not gone green yet, so John Goudet's strategy has paid off, as worked for Stephen Beck as well. So the undercut still stronger, even though they've been in the traffic. So Stephen Millington, obviously, he had a very, very solid undercut. As the number 12, there we go. That is Graham. He now gets a drive through. That's at number 5, 2 to go. Yep. And Skunky will be bang on the prediction on that one. But Stephen Millington, maybe that undercut is the way to go. And Richie Michael and Robert Smith might have to start watching their backs a little bit, because Stephen Millington is looking very, very quick at the minute.
He did it in race 1, Dan. He's trying to do it again now. Richie Michael as well has lost out another 2 seconds out of Robert Smith. Rob Smith is into the pits. Graham will have that drive-through penalty, so just pushing the track limits too hard at this stage of the race, and it's, like we said, just quietening down a little bit. John Gooday's now gaining on the back of Playerman. John will hope to clear Playerman pretty quick. So he's also gapped Stephen Beck over this lap or two. So he's got good pace out there. Mirko Richie has fed out into a fight with old sim racer and Gary Clauble. So Gary Clauble, repairing some damage, has got it pretty bad. He's dropped down to 15th place at the moment. Sam's just behind him, and Lando Norris steadily behind him. But John Goudet at the moment, Dan, still didn't get past Playerman. He's still got time to pit. Playerman will have one lap. No, it'd be very tight. Robert Smith has pulled it into the pit lane. Richie Michelle hasn't. 79 has had a spin just in front. Who's Ian Best further up the road from Richie Michelle. But Got plenty of time, but one mistake, Danny, and he puts himself in a world of trouble.
Yeah, he does, but obviously, let's just think, he's got the championship under control at the minute. You know, is it worth the risk? Is it not? Dennis Hansen's down the order. He's in 10th, actually, so Dennis Hansen he's worked his way up back the order slowly. He should be up into 9th by the time Playerman pits. But Playerman is now into the pits as John Goudet is now released. But Robert Smith has dropped behind Stephen Millington. Stephen Millington, undercut, has worked mighty here. Wow!
Yeah, it has indeed, and that is
well.
a big jump. Apologies, we're just taking a sip of drink. Stephen Millington has jumped then, Robert Smith, so the undercut is huge here at Kota. Well, we can only assume. We don't know what fuel Robert Smith was possibly running. Was he that little bit lighter on the first stint, or is the undercut just that big here? But Stephen Millington leads this race from Robert Smith. That does not bode well if you're Richie Michel, because John Goudet, well, he's 15 seconds behind Robert Smith. Could he be a little bit closer come the few sectors time? That's going to be the biggest question.
I don't think so, no. I just think that Stephen Millington nailed the lap, nailed the outlaps as well, cleared Mirko Richie relatively quickly, and Richie Michael actually, sorry, is under some pressure from Michael in the Nissan. So the Lamborghini suddenly just lost all its grip or confidence. I'm not sure, but he's now should pit now as the cranky duckhead is in the wall.
Yep, strange place to see the car, but he's in. And Jamie will have to pit. Jamie's got a tough ask here. Now, 35 seconds, he should be okay from P2, but wow, what a jump, Stephen Millington. And John's also pulled the gap down under 15 seconds to Robert Smith. So, crucial. Who's the 181? That's Gary Clauble was just running with the yellow flag, so he had a yellow flag momentarily. Crucial to see how long Richie Michel's pit stop will be. John is now coming into the Istanbul corner.
Richie Michel's
green, yeah, so he's already dropped and on his way. Here comes Stephen Millington, then out the final corner he comes to start his 16th lap.
He's got him done.
Yeah,
easy.
Massively.
And Robert Smith is just going to stay in front of him, I think. He's now off the limiter. Robert Smith up to turn number 1. Stephen Millington, brilliant job.
Great strategy. Great strategy from Stephen Millington there then. So, well worked from him indeed. Just Jamie out the pits, by the way. Or still in the pits, but was P8 and 9 during that pit stop. So see where he comes out. Mirko Richie has now got old Sim Racer on the back of him. Closest fight on the track. Cranky Duckhead back in the pits after damage. So that could allow Graham to maybe catch and pass another car. But old Sim Racer at the minute, you know, he's had an up and down season, hasn't he, Dan? He's up racing in some races. He's not been as good in others. And it's been a bit of a hit and miss season. Ian Best's got Michael next to him as we speak about newer drivers, and Michael round the outside, easy done over that of Ian Best. But yeah, old Sim Racer Dan, he's had an up and down season. When he's looked good, and when it's not gone his way, it's not gone his way.
Yeah, obviously the first season racing the Pro-Am category as well, so it kind of dips you into a chance of kind of understanding where people are regarding strategy and pace, and understanding who is who. And Robert Ramsden has said, missing a hell of a race, let's go. And well, that's what you get for hanging out at Butlins. Yeah, I think old Sim Racer he's still learning the group and learning the way we run here at SimPlay Motorsport, and a lot of drivers are doing that as well. You got the likes of Richie Michel, Robert Smith, and all these guys who've been here for a while. John Goudet as well, Steve Beck, and Luke Saunders has been with us in the past. So you all get an idea of how it runs. So the new boys are just getting to grips on how things are ran here in the championship, and he's shown some brilliance. He has shown some good pace in that Ferrari, and I'd be surprised if he decides not to return back in the Ferrari. And as well, Matt, we're talking about cars, we're talking about tracks possibly next season as well. This is where the time starts to see drivers starting to, like in Formula 1, they start to focus on the next season or the next year as such. And I have seen a few drivers starting to dip in and out of cars. Now, that could affect their championships towards the end of the season. Testing different cars and habits as well, especially if you decide to go from something as dramatic as a front-engine car to a mid-engine or then a rear-engine. It's going to be a massive change and difference.
Just noting, sorry Dan, I'll get back to your point in a second. Monkey Boy's had a moment at the S's. He's now got Millington behind him, moved straight out the way. But yes, you're right. It just depends, I suppose, on where you are in the championship, what your team can do in the championship, and obviously what the situation is. For someone like yourself, probably not focusing on other cars. For someone like Harris, probably not at the moment. Neither is Richie Michelle. But we know, for the example of someone like Clouden, might be looking at it. He can't do anything in the championship.
Dennis Hansen's had a moment in turn 1, and Matthew Hicks has just sneaked up the inside, around the outside of turn 2 into turn 3, and job done for him.
Yeah, good move by Matthew Hicks here, but a mistake from Dennis Hansen that has cost him. Robert Smith has lost time to Millington, and Richie Michelle has stayed around the same as well. But you're right, it is that time of year, and like you say, you know, it's not just the cars that you're choosing. You know, you're also looking at possible teammates. You know, hearing a few rumours here and there of drivers possibly changing teammates or sticking with the same team, maybe running as an independent. So interesting to hear all that as well. And then we've got the tracks. Obviously, the Patreon members can select a track for next season, as well as those admin members get to pick a track. And we're not obviously going to share what circuits are being there for you guys yet. But at the minute, there will be 10 tracks. There's one more track we're waiting to be selected by one of our Patreons. 10 tracks out of the 12 would have been selected. The Wheel of Names will pick the last 2, and then the Wheel of Names will pick the order of the calendar. And so at the moment, you kind of have a little advantage being a Patreon by looking at what is coming next season and being able to say, I can have a little go offline around this track with this car. Yes, there's no BOP, but you know, for teams that have private servers, you know, and team servers, if you will, maybe could change it to one of them tracks and go, do you know what, I'm just going to try it there, I'm just going to put the BOP on that set and blah 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 and run it. So lots to be gained, lots to be lost at the moment, and this is this time of year, Dan, isn't it, where when the championships are as open as they are, let's be honest, GT4's 120 odd points, this one here 180 odd points, your championship in Pro is 203. Championships look pretty dead set.
Sorry, Jamie's just gone around the outside. Lando Norris off circuit as well, and he has got the position done. But just as we're talking about this, there are fights starting to happen. We're talking about walking away from him. Mirko Ricci is still under pressure from old Sim Racer, and also Steve Beck is really giving John Goudet a hard time as well. But yeah, it's definitely time for people to start experimenting and trying new things. And like you say, if you're a Patreon, you get an idea of what's coming up. And obviously, once we get our track selections for the 12th, it may not even be a Wheel of Names will be introduced at this one, because we haven't got enough Patreons. And thank you as well. And obviously as well, we got in the Discord chat as well to all the drivers who are in the Discord to obviously make a suggestion what you would love to see in the Patreon subscription, because obviously we started it this season. To kind of start boosting the channel up and try and give back to you guys as much as we can, so supporting us with trophies and obviously servers and stuff like that. So if you do want to be a Patreon, your money does go towards the channel and towards the guys in the championship as well, so feel free to do so. And if you're unsure how to be a Patreon, then please feel free to message one of the admins. That's either myself, Matthew Duffin, or Peaceful Explosion.
While you're speaking about if you struggle with the Patreon, did you hear about the little mishap this week from our very own Jamal?
No.
He'd been waiting since the weekend of why his Patreon hadn't been working, bless him. He'd caught the donate button and donated the £3, not caught the Patreon button. So we managed to sort that for Jamal. But when Mike realised what he'd done, it was a little giggle for Jamal. But like Dan says, fights happening on the track at the moment. Jamie's now on the back of Sam. No, Jamie's ahead of Sam. Sam's got some damage to the front of that BMW, trying to come back very close here. One thing I don't like about this track is the cameras are so off-putting, even though we can change them. How wide these corners are makes it look like the cars entering the corner side by side, and by the time they come out, they're actually nowhere near each other. Very misleading around this track at the moment. Michael is trying to get close to Player Man. He's pulled away from DJ Phil. Graham has got past that of Gary Clarble, so Gary Clarble's had a pit stop somewhere. He's trying to hunt down Monkey Boy, who's up through the first sector. Jamie, as we know, has just got past Sam, so Jamie on a comeback drive. Dennis Hansen still there with Matthew Hicks, but McLaren tonight, you know, Richie Michelle and Mirko Ricci, hats off to them in the Lamborghini, but the McLaren tonight's looked even worse.
Yeah, the Lamborghini has, it's not been its strongest. Obviously, I remember a few seasons ago racing here in the Lamborghini, and I just could not get it to work. It's just a strange circuit for it. It does not like medium speed corners, and here there's not really a lot of medium speed corners. There's a lot of either fast flowing corners or slow corners, but it's just the turning and the braking as well. I think this circuit has really shown braking is what is the key around here, not just heavy braking but also trail braking. I think this circuit is really demanding on the brakes, as obviously learning from the Lexus, it does not want to stop in any of the corners, and when you try and trail brake, it locks, it understeers, and then you end up in a whole heap of trouble. And I think this is what suits the Porsche, because it's brilliant on the brakes. The Ferrari's fantastic on the brakes. BMW is relatively good on the brakes as well. So I think a car that's got good brakes seems to be relatively strong around this circuit.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Dad. As a drive-through for the 99.
Number 6.
That is Monkey Boy with a drive-through penalty, number 6 of the evening. So one more, and it was right. We had more drive-throughs in. Oh, that was him going over the line. For the viewers at home, Dan, as Stephen Beck's having a look up the inside of John Gooday into the final corner, and it just tightens up for himself and he gets a poor exit compared to John Gooday. For the viewers at home, just talk us what trail braking is for those who may not understand.
So trail braking, obviously you got your normal braking, which is you go, especially like in a hairpin, you come into the corner, you brake straight, and then as you get to the apex of the corner, you release the brake and then turn in. You do all your braking in a straight line and then release the brake before you start to turn. Trail braking is the art of braking and turning at the same time. Now obviously, as the tyres and the car works, as you brake, the tyres would naturally rotate, and as you try and put some turning or motion into the turn, obviously the car won't like it and the brakes will start to lock and the tyres will lock and you get a nasty flat spot. Then there's the 7th one, as Matthew Hicks now gets to drive through. And as you try and trail brake, you want to try and get the car to turn in, you want to stop it from locking, and you want to get the car to start to turn in. That's when you start to learn to release the brakes and find that point of when the car stops to lock and get that turn in done. Trail braking is a very good skill to learn, but incredibly hard to master. And if you can do it, a lot of these cars would be a strong potential, especially the Porsche, a car that relies heavily on trail braking. Steve Beck, by the way, has cleared John Gooday.
He has cleared John Gooday. We was watching that fight while he was talking us through. Thank you for the insight there on trail braking. And maybe that could be a tier added to the Patreon. Coaching with Dan Davis. So John Gooday's now going to try and fight back on
maybe
that.
I should start my own.
Wasn't there a guy who used to do that on another league many moons ago?
No comment. No comment. I didn't need his help.
Stephen Beck has got past out of John Gooday, and John trying to come back at him on the rear here. Old
Jamie's
SimRace.
putting on.
Oh yeah, just about to say.
Old Sim Racer was giving Mirko Ritchie some hard time, and now Jamie's come onto the scene, and Jamie's gained a lot of time here, so I'm guessing Mirko Ritchie and Old Sim Racer must have been fighting hard, and Jamie looks up the inside and can't find a way through there. Player Man has got Michael behind him, and now he's just dropped off.
Jamie's just had a wiggle out the exit. Off he goes. I don't think he lost a spot. No, he didn't. Don't forget, Jamie started at the back of the grid in this race with that qualifying ban. Graham will get ahead of his long-term teammates from the past and good friend Monkey Boy. And I'm sure that Monkey Boy will be absolutely thrilled to see Graham go past. And if we know Graham, there will be a few chuckles at seeing Monkey Boy get a drive-through, even though he's had one himself.
Yeah, he will. He's probably not having the best times, but he's now probably having a little scrap with Monkey Boy. Graham and Monkey Boy just trying to outdo one another. One will spin, and then the next one will spin, the next one will get a drive-through, another one will get a drive-through. Currently, Skunky is bang on at the minute, 7 drive-throughs. Is he going to stay with that? That is the question. But again, Matt, we got into another lull here. Old Sim Racer is now creeping onto the back of Mirko Ritchie. Now, Jamie's released him a little bit there, but Lando Norris also coming back at Sam as well. So Lando's starting to find a little bit of pace. But
Sam has got a bit of damage to the front of his BMW. As there we go, it is no longer 7, it is 8 drive-through penalties as Jamie picks up a drive-through penalty. And with that mentioned in the Patreon a little earlier, if you want to be a part of the Patreon, Head over to Patreon and search for SimPlay Motorsport on there. £3 a month, you get the likes of, and let's bring the image up actually on the stream for a quick moment. That's the calendar, that's the Patreon. For £3 a month, you get to reserve your driver number. That is your number for life. You get a priority access to sign up, so when the sign ups go out, it will be posted in the Patreon before it comes out for everybody else. Track suggestion towards future seasons. Obviously, like we've just been saying, the patrons can put a thing together, a track suggestion together, a pre-season promo image for your car or whatever you're wanting, and also auto shares of like social medias, whether that's Instagram or YouTube, Twitch, whatever it may be. We can share all that. Sam has gone deep.
Lando.
Go on.
Lando's on the inside of Sam, and Sam will still have the inside for the next part of the corners. But Lando really should have given Sam more room there, I think, and Sam was deserved the inside room, but Lando Norris there, Sam's got to be a bit careful when doing that, because one particular driver done that and got disqualified cutting corners around here. I can't remember who, but I vaguely remember a car.
Where was it this season? We had 3 corner cuts and disqualified 3 drivers. It was Misano, wasn't it? I believe we had 3 corner cuts this season. As Jamie's got 2 more. No, that's Jamie just having his 2 laps warning, which is a shame for Jamie, because look at this, he's coming back on Mirko Ricci and Old Sim Racer here. His Old Sim Racer's looking up the inside then of that. And Mirko Ricci, Jamie's just dropped the rear, and he manages to hold on to it. But yeah, shame for Jamie in this one. That, you know, it just hasn't gone. He's had good pace, and he's been the only McLaren really. Dennis Hansen's kind of been around where Dennis Hansen you should expect him to be. Jamie, you know, we don't really know where Jamie's fully at the moment because of the late entry into the season. So I'd say this is good pace from Jamie today, what we've seen.
Yeah, definitely so. Just a little couple of silly errors and mistakes that's now just creeping in. And again, that's just inexperience. And a lot of drivers have, again as well, new drivers have come in thinking, right, okay, this is my car. This is what I use in open lobbies. You know, this is what I should be able to be competitive in, and come in. And next thing you know, their so-called strong car ends up being a complete pain in the ass. But either way, I think Jamie is just learning the traits of racing, and Sam, on the other hand, has still got that damage and struggling to catch onto the back of Lando, and everyone's just starting just to once again just string out a little bit.
Yeah, it is just stringing out a little bit, just a moment or two. We normally see towards the end of the race that the gaps kind of close up, but Millington's clear of Smith's clear of Richie Michael, he's well clear of Beck's now pulled clear of John Gooday. Saunders is gaining slowly on John Gooday here, so that could be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. Hicks trying to gain on Paul Williams as well. Obviously Hicks had decent pace in that BMW this evening. Keep our eyes on Michael. That's 1.1 to player man. I feel that could come down relatively soon, so keep our eyes on that. And if we drop down the order there, see look, Monkey Boy and Cranky Duckhead 2 laps down, and then a lap down is everybody else at the moment from Dennis Hansen down. That's only because they haven't crossed the line yet. This is your closest fight though on the grid. John Gooday 1.9 to Steve Beck. Luke Saunders 1.8 to John Gooday now. And look at that, Michael, I said keep your eyes on him. Well, 1.9 seconds has now become 2 tenths the opposite direction. Michael's up to P18. Michael has been taken out in both races. I think that he has been good enough for at least a driver of the day conversation, I'd say, because I feel like he's been in a position of, if he hadn't been taken out, what would he have done?
Again, though, he's been in those scenarios where he has been.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Maybe there's obviously, yes, it's been taken out, but there is still, you're still in the car, so obviously you may not be able to control what other people are doing, but you can still control the car. So if you do see a car coming at you and it's clearly out of control, you can react to him and move out of the way. So I'm obviously just typing up the drivers of the day. There's a couple that I've got in mind, but as we still see this 3-way fight, and Jamie is kind of pointing as far as Old Sim Racer sends up, misses the apex by a mile, misses his brakes, and Jamie will gain on that one, but he'll have to pit pretty much this lap. He's now fighting side by side with Old Sim Racer, and that's going to be Jamie into the pits in a few moments time. I think it's hard to give a couple of drivers. There's a couple of drivers that you could possibly give it to tonight. Like Steve Beck is another driver that's been very quiet but very consistent this evening. John Goudet's been very good. He's finally had a good round. Mirko Ritchie, Mirko Ritchie's had a good night as well.
Steve Millington, brilliant.
Steve Millington, definitely been put down for driver of the day. Michael, this race 2 has let him down, so possibly not able to get that driver. Luke Saunders has been strong tonight as well. So it's hard to just say which particular driver. Robert Smith, also another solid drive from himself. But the BMWs for me have been the ones that have really shone tonight. Obviously, a few of the others have been caught up earlier on. Jamie now serves his drive-through, but Robert Smith, Steve Beck, and Luke Saunders have looked very mighty in that BMW, but not compared to that Ferrari that's out in front.
No, they haven't. Ferrari's looked the best car by a mile. Gary Clarble's on the back of Sutty Apex now, with Graham Sutcliffe coming through the S as they come, and up towards the second sector. In fact, they just started the second sector, now down towards the... Oh, Andrew Taylor's had another moment. He'll be absolutely livid with this one. I knew Tony. I just knew Tony was going to put something like that. You knew it was coming from him in the chat. But Sutty under pressure at the moment. Old Sim Racer's back on Mirko as well, Dan. So Jamie's back out the way, and Old Sim Racer's right back on Mirko here. And like I say, tough one for driver of the day. Gary Clarble now. Let's see that Porsche compared to the Bentley. The Bentley's still got the grunt in a straight line. Look, just pulling away slightly from Clarble there. This is on board with Gary. Yeah, Gary's just doing it under the braking at the moment, but battles happening throughout. Jamie back out in 17th. He's trying to get past the Jackal. He's just gone a little deep. He's trying to make a move, and Old Sim Racer's trying to come on that of Mirko Ritchie. But Stephen Millington, undercutting race 1, undercutting race 2. He has not looked back in both races.
He's been phenomenal. That Ferrari's been looking super, super strong, which makes me a little bit worried for tomorrow night, as Skunky missed out last week, and he returns to this week. So, I think every Ferrari is going to look good. Fraser as well is going to look mighty. Matt Wright is going to look very strong as well. Anyone who's in a Ferrari, I think, other than Mike Matthews, my teammate, I think he might struggle. But I'm joking, Mike. I'm joking. I mean. When the car is meant to be dominant, he somehow makes it a monster, one way or another.
Yeah, no, you're right. When it's not meant to do great, it looks good. When it's meant to be good, Mike somehow makes it look terrible. Benny, I'm trying to think who Benny is in the comments there. Benny, let us know which one of the GT4 drivers you are, but it can't be in the carnage when you sat in the comms box. That's all I can say. As this man's done a cracking job. Luke Saunders, Dan, on the back of John Goodey now, 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, indeed. I'm still watching the Old Sim Racer Mirko Ritchie fight. Not really much coming from that at the minute. But, again, we got to the end of this race. There was a question I was going to ask before we get to the end of this race. We are talking, obviously, the GT4s have been phenomenal for the last 2 seasons. We've definitely enjoyed them. Obviously, the variety of other cars that we do have available to us, Matt. What would you love to see as a side series? What would you want to see as a replacement for the GT4s if they get replaced?
Well, we did a small little British sort of Port Cup series, didn't we, back on the PS4, in which a Mr. Joseph Bates won every race bar one. And that was a fantastic little series. In obviously mixed class sort of abilities between pros and pro-ams and different classes of drivers on that one. Justin Winter's also getting close to the back of these two. I'd kind of like to see GT2s. Let's have a look at them go round. Ferrari Challenges one. I've been to the Ferrari Challenges at Donington Park in real life. A former person.
Sim Racer sending it. He's looking. Sorry, Matt. Sorry to butt in, but he did look to the inside of the left-hander and not quite far enough alongside. But yeah, sorry. Carry on.
I had the pleasure of working with somebody who commentates on the Ferrari Challenge across the world, and they seem fun. So GT2s or Ferrari Challenge for me. What about yourself?
After I mentioned it, I quite like the idea of the GT2s and GT4s
I
together
do as well. Yeah.
So a mixed class and obviously the GT4s will have to try and clear the the GT2s will have to try and clear the GT4s, but the GT4s have their own fight, and the GT2s are obviously a very different car, a lot more power and a lot less downforce, if I'm
we did a Mercedes, yeah, it's a lot more power but a lot less downforce. We did a Mercedes night, didn't we, on another league?
Yes.
Where it was Mercedes GT2s, Mercedes GT3s, Mercedes GT4s. Yep, we're on board.
Has got some immense pressure from Luke Saunders and now Justin Winter.
Justin Winter actually is having a look up the inside of Luke Saunders, gets a great run out the left-hander, comes across a little kink and gets ahead of Luke Saunders. That is a great move, that, from Justin Winter. Luke Saunders, though, answering immediately back, late on the brakes, and cannot get the cut back there. Now, Justin Winter, do you attack the boss? That's the biggest question. Or is it hold station at the moment? I'm a late sign up into the GT4s, mate, so I missed out on this season, but hopefully make my debut next season. Benny is the Australian driver I've been messaging on Discord. Right, okay, that makes sense now. I quite like the multi-class idea, but like we were saying, you know, the Mercedes night at the Nürburgring, GT2, GT3, GT4, all Mercedes. It was a good event. It was 10 cars of each, and it was a pretty good event. If you was to do a multi-class, I think it would be quite fun to watch and to broadcast.
Yeah, it would indeed. I mean, what other cars could we do that's in that kind of range? I believe the Audis you can do as well. We've got a GT2 Audi, a GT3 Audi, and a GT4 Audi. So there's always
Porsche.
Porsche as well. Yeah, Porsche multi-class. You could, instead of the GT3s, you could have the Porsche GT4, the Porsche Super Cup, and then the Porsche GT4.
Yeah,
that could be an interesting one. I believe there
is. Oh, Justin Winter's going up the inside. There isn't. Justin Winter, though, has gone up the inside of John Gooday. John looks very, very twitchy here and looks a little out of shape at the moment. And this is fantastic at the moment. But John now coming back at Justin Winter. So there is no team orders. The gloves are off at Greasy Bandits. John tries to get it turned in, but Justin keeps it strong. As Robert Ramsell says, keep the GT4s. It's like fun touring car racing. I love it. GT2s are horrible. Get the M2s out. The M2s was fun that we did on the FBR channel. They was all right.
Yeah, I mean, you struggled with the braking a little bit. But,
I hate them, but they was good for fun. but I get what Robert's saying about the GT4s this season being like the touring cars. That's how it's felt. That's the format we've kind of tried to run. That's what the BMWs kind of give you. I think John's tyres have died, by the way.
Old Sim Racer has finally got up the inside of Mirko Ricci. He's finally got the job done, but he's run wide. Now the Lamborghini's coming back at him, and he stays back in front. So Old Sim Racer finally gets in front, but he drops behind, and now Lando Norris is onto the scene.
Dan, while we've been chatting away, this is the final lap of the race as well. Stephen Millington is coming towards the line to take a back-to-back race win. It'll be his 4th race win of the season, and he only joined just at the halfway stage of the championship. We cut back now to that of Stephen Millington, and what a night it has been for him. 2 wins and a fastest lap. It's no fastest lap here, but Stephen Millington, hold your head high, because you have raced superbly here tonight. Excuse me, Cranky Duckhead slow out the penultimate corner, but Stephen Millington wins from that of Robert Smith. Cranky Duckhead will finish a couple of laps down. Robert Smith, though, P2, fastest lap to his name, did everything right up until the pit stop, Dan.
Yeah, did everything right, but Stephen Millington just a little bit clever on strategy, and he comes home for second. Richie Michael, on the other hand, what happened? Pole position for him, and then just the race, the Lamborghini had no answer to the 2 in front, and in the end he's going to have to settle for 3rd and has to go to Autumn Park to win his title. Stephen Beck now exits the final quarter to P4. Brilliant job from him. Justin Winter passing the boss to get into 5th place as John Gooday hangs in there for P6 ahead of Luke Saunders. The 181 Gary Clarble gets a drive fall right at the end as Dennis Hansen is going to come home for 8th, just as what has happened to Mirko Ricci and Lando Norris. Where's Old Sim Racer? He's cleared them. Mirko Ricci and Lando has come together.
Oh, so it's all kicked off there then as Dennis Hansen's come to line. Mirko Ricci has got through. Where is Old Sim Racer? He's towards the final corner, so Old Sim Racer's not going to complain about that. It's took him a lot of the race to get through, but Old Sim Racer here has finally got through, and he comes home to take a P9. Mirko Ricci is going to have to settle for a P10 after contact with Lando Norris, who was P11.
Sam's off now.
Sam is now off, and has Matthew Hicks passed him? Yes, Matthew Hicks has passed him. So Matthew Hicks, great drive from him in this one. He's going to come across for a P12. P13 now for Sam. P14 for Jamie. 15th for Rob Smith. 16th Paul Williams. The Jackal P17. Michael towards the line. P18. We've then got Playerman, who is down in P19, and it is just that now of DJ Phil to come to the line in P20 at the moment. 9 drive-through penalties, so unfortunately there...
Skunky doesn't win the £100,000 that we did have up for grab for you guys if you managed to guessly correct how many drive-throughs tonight, and sadly none of you will win that, so that will go back to the admin team.
Monkey Boy gains an extra place there with Gary Klobal's 30-second time penalty at the very end, and yeah, we're all a bit richer.
I wish.
Yeah, same, yeah. Graham down in 22nd. Cranky Duckhead across the line 25th. Gary Clawball down in 24th after that drive through at the very end. Michael towards the end come across for 18th place. Playerman was 19th. No Lucas in this second race. Jamie 14th place after he had a drive through, and Ian Best down in 21st. We will just keep our eyes on the Discord chat to see if anybody joins the voice channel, and Stephen Millington has actually joined the comms box, so let's go over to the Discord channel. We'll be bringing you the driver interviews.
Green light, go, go, go.